What is good, chat? How are we doing today, guys? We are gonna have ourselves a show. I know what you guys are thinking. First things first, let me know if y'all can hear the audio, okay? Because I was messing around with it and I think I bumped something. So y'all just let me know if y'all can hear the show, okay? Because we gotta cover something that I find very pressing in the manosphere space, people. All right, and it's a very uncomfortable truth that a lot of red pill guys, they really don't want to face when you really hold the mirror up to them, okay? And this, what we're going to talk about is the obvious grift that a lot of people are seeing within the red pill space, and they're willing to come in and take advantage of these said grifts, okay? Now, here's the thing, okay? This grift is something that when you look at it, on the surface seems innocent, right? Seems easy enough, right? Something that young men can buy into to help lift them up out of their misery, because that's what this particular grift that we're talking about is claiming to do, okay? And then we get all sorts of people from all walks of life who all of a sudden are experts in the field of teaching you how to live your life and get successful relationships. Now listen. Some of y'all are thinking, Duke, all of this stuff on the surface, helping young men, heal from the traumas, and then you got coaches on standby willing to help these guys also better themselves? All right, hold up. Yes, on the surface it seems genuine, but what happens when the instructors or the coaches or your tutors, your mentors, your leaders who are trying to help you get somewhere, what if they also lack the experience to even talk to you, to even guide you? And instead of doing their due diligence to go ahead and, get this set experience, maybe researching, looking at studies, maybe having an actual relationship, right? Some of these experiences that let you know maybe this person who's giving me the advice, it's a little grounded and a little based, okay? No. In this case, listen, as long as you can sound like you know what you're talking about, apparently this particular grift, and I'm talking about the red pill if you guys haven't figured it out already, it makes it super easy for anybody to come up here and just claim anything, right? They can claim to be experts at anything, yet it can't tell you nothing in the same breath, okay? And there's one person in this particular space, matter of fact, realistically, to be fair, we're not going to put it all on her, okay, because there's a lot of these females coming out here right now, but there's one in particular that we like to talk about here, and it's Pearl, because Pearl, she is the one who has, out of any other women in this space that you would consider a leader, like the the what's that new girl with the hijab, not hijab, but she wears that crimson red, right? You got crimson red, you got some of these other channels like Melanie King, right? All this stuff like that. I'm not putting crimson red and Melanie King in the same category, because Melanie King is a whole different woman. If you haven't seen my last video on Melanie King, hey, Melanie King, I think she might be legitimately crazy. Like, she got bodies on her, and I'm not talking about sexual partners. I believe that woman probably killed somebody, okay? I don't know who it is or what it is, but that woman does not give a shit about men. But aside from Melanie King and some of the other females out here that got their rise and their start in this space and their success in this space, Pearl's a little bit different, because Pearl, she didn't just garner support from, most people would say the white side of the manosphere, right? Because she has a lot of white supporters, a lot of it's out there. Everyone knows there are two different spaces in the manosphere. Okay, you got the black manosphere, founded by Obsidian, and you got O'Shea Duke Jackson in the mix. Okay, Donnie Boy used to be a part of they call it the Negro manosphere, but it's a black manosphere now. Donnie Boy used to be a part of it, but said they were too ghetto. Danica Marie is another one that's a part of it. I think she's still a part of it. I don't know, but she's another female in this space that found some success, getting off of men. And listen, Danica Marie, I actually kind of like her. So it's nothing against her. We focus it on Pearl right now. Okay, the thing is, Pearl is different, because Pearl was not only able to get the full backing of the black manosphere, but she got the full support of everybody else, which skyrocketed her into the stratosphere of just manosphere fame you can't even imagine. Like, she's up there right now. Matter of fact, I am willing to believe that she got up to 1 million subscribers so damn fast that she hasn't even gotten the time to get herself verified yet. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, and not due to the fact that her mentor Rollo Tomasi is accusing her of paying for subs, which is why she is unwilling to verify her 1 million plus sub account. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that she was able to garner a huge amount of success pulling these two groups together. Why? And it's just to new heights. Okay? Now, where is this all going? If you look on the surface of it, you look at all the big manosphere content creators, some of the guys who would claim to be thought leaders like Rollo Tomasi. Unfortunately, Rollo Tomasi and Pearl are currently having a falling out. But to be fair, who doesn't Rollo Tomasi have a falling out with? Okay, so excusing that aside, right? You would think, okay, Pearl and all these guys that are vouching for her, they know what they're talking about. And some of you guys who listen to her on her platform and things that she says, and you can kind of, some of y'all can vibe with what she says, right? A lot of y'all, not y'all in the chat. No, we're too smart for that. By y'all, I'm talking about the stand boys who listen to this Redpill shit, right? They would hear this stuff and they would vibe with all of this wholeheartedly, right? Because it made sense on the surface, because she's saying exactly what these guys love to hear, right? And then you take Pearl out of her element and maybe get her on another podcast, or maybe get her doing a guest live stream with someone else, who I don't care, whoever it is, right? You just get her off of her platform and just press her on one of her talking points. And the funniest thing happens. All of a sudden, this person that we thought, by we, I mean y'all. By y'all, I don't mean the chat. I'm talking about them red pill dudes out there, right? The woman we thought was sensible and kind of understood red pill issues from a fundamental perspective. After all, this is someone who took mentorship from Kevin Samuels himself, the godfather of the red pill, okay? Not like Rollo calling himself the godfather. Rollo calling himself the godfather is that weirdo loser in high school that nicknames himself and acts like everyone calls him that. No. Kevin Samuels was actually donned the godfather by everybody else, just because of the way he behaved, the manner of his content, and the potent delivery of his content to the masses, right? That's what made him godfather status, okay? Pearl got her cues from him. So you would think a woman like her, okay, would do well debating other people outside of her platform with talking points that are his. And she would take that and run with it, right? Because a lot of top dogs backed her. And you will be wrong. Matter of fact, you and by you, I'm meaning you guys in the chat now, y'all will come to the same realization I came to. I realized that this woman might legitimately be clueless. Okay, listen, I'm serious. I legitimately think this woman is actually clueless. Because if you think about it, there were so many other debates that she's done. Okay, so many debates that she has done that were outside her platform. And you know when she tends to have a strong opinion about something, when she, for example, the one she did with Adam Sosnick on Adam Sosnick's platform versus Destiny, right? They were arguing Andrew Tate. And what happened? She had such strong opinions about Andrew Tate, but then when she got pressed, oh, well, I don't really know a whole lot about the whole Tate situation realistically. Like, I really don't know what's going on, right? I don't know, but I have such strong opinions on it, right? She's the one type of woman that don't know anything, but knows a lot about the same thing she don't know nothing about. That's her. The moment you press her, it's either she doesn't know anything, or, which I believe this is the most honest Pearl has ever been, she admits that she doesn't know anything, right? And I'm sitting there thinking about this. Wait a minute, we got somebody that keeps bragging about not knowing anything as a weird cop-out to not answer questions when in a debate, right? But then again, she chimes in with things that are not meaningful. Then you look at that, and then you go ahead and go back to the talking points that she spills out there. Then you look at the way she employs those talking points, and then the whole thing just shocks you, all right? You start to realize that this woman just got elevated to a level of fame and notoriety and influence without knowing dick about what she's talking about. And on top of that, oh my God, guys, I'm gonna stop monologuing because we're past the 10-minute mark. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it, because there was this live stream that really just opened my eyes. Okay, and this live stream opened my eyes because it made me realize how dumb she actually is, how not smart she actually is. And this isn't me saying it. She says it with her own words. Like when she gets pressed in this debate we're about to watch, she says it with her own words. Like she has such strong opinions, yet she knows nothing about what she's talking about, right? And the crazy thing is, it makes you want to think, okay? Because I know y'all gonna get mad, but this is where I was trying to allude to earlier, okay? Imagine a bunch of young men and manosphere leaders backing this young woman who is spreading not only misinformation about relationships, misinformation about divorce, misinformation about custody, and worst of all, misinformation about even conspiracy, right? We have this woman also channeling that message to other young men who are buying that bullshit. I want y'all to understand how dangerous this is getting. And to even raise the stakes a little further, while y'all, and by y'all I mean chat, we need to be kind of vigilant about this, is because of Sneeko, right? Because this live stream also involves Sneeko, but for something a little bit different, right? Sneeko is literally the gateway to red pill extremism, okay? Sneeko Rumble combo is literally the gateway towards red pill extremism, okay? I'm letting you know that right now. And what do I mean by red pill extremism? You know how they start believing that they go so far in the whole COVID delusion, right? And I'm not saying that there wasn't some kind of weird nonsense going around with COVID, okay? I'm not saying that wasn't a thing, because there's some weird things going around it. But their version of what's going on, especially with some of these other conspiracies, and how it eventually ends up leading to Jews running everything, or this crazy conspiracy that starts to turn the minds of young men against their other fellow men, just with a different ethnicity or religious group, right? It starts to get dangerous. And what I mean by Sneeko being a gateway to this, Sneeko is dragging a bunch of people all over the Rumble, okay? Like, a lot of people are moving over to Rumble. I'm talking about, like, top content creators, and some of them are just going up there to either do debates with them or whatever the hell, but a lot of people are moving over to that platform, all right? And one other person I think is going to be highly influenced by Sneeko moving over to Rumble and further spreading some of this conspiracy misinformation is Pearl. And we about to watch in this live stream how Sneeko and this whole little conspiracy, how he starts to get all these people's minds wrapped up in this red pill runaway bullshit, that it starts to drag them into the realm of extremism. Now, listen, I commend Destiny for going over to Rumble. Listen, Destiny, realistically, I personally, you can do what you want to do. It is what it is. But I don't even know why you still talk to these people anymore. Like, realistically, debating with Sneeko and Pearl at the same time is like trying to tell your toddlers to sit the fuck down and get out the fridge, right? It's just too much of a mess because their brains are all over the place. But I commend you doing it because what it exposes is why cancel culture is a bad thing. Because what happens when you cancel voices like Sneeko, okay, and they can't be rightfully criticized by other people on the YouTube platform? They go to these underground platforms like Rumble, like Kick, and they feel as though that they're free to say whatever the fuck they want and do whatever the hell they want to do. And a lot of times, a lot of the things that they want to talk about and want to do has to do with that far-right, extreme conspiracy that leads to Jews running everything. Okay, y'all remember what I told y'all. As soon as y'all hit Nick Fuentes, you went too far. Okay, the moment you travel so far down the rabbit hole that Nick Fuentes' faces pop up on your screen, it's over. You went too far in. You're stuck in the matrix, bro. You've been got. Okay, so let's go ahead and play this live stream, guys. Let me know if y'all can hear the audio, and let's get it. Where we got
things like the GDPR from, which has actually been overwhelmingly good. For
I'm sorry. I'm not that smart.
That's okay.
So GDPR.
It's basically this thing that means you can like email any company that has data about you, and you can ask them for like a full list of like, I want every single piece of information you have on me, and you can request for it to be deleted. Those types of standards were only implemented because I think it was the whole European Union that passed requirements on data protection.
Oh, okay. So,
which is like
what does it have to do with the money stuff?
Well, I don't know, but he talked about like global regulation standards or something, and she was talking about keeping your
Facts,
data
Akuma.
safe.
That's such a good statement. Thank you for the $2 super chat.
Which can also apply to financial industries as well. When she said data safe, the GDPR was the first thing that came to mind for European regulations.
I just didn't understand.
Okay, we went off on a tangent. Let's go back to the documentary. Basically,
let's go back to
Destiny, are you pro World Economic Forum?
They have conversations about like what the future of like finance and the world should look like. I think it's an important conversation.
Are you happy about the globalist agenda?
I don't know what the globalist agenda is.
I don't either.
A one government that controls all of our money, that tells us you'll own nothing and be happy about it.
One government that controls all the currency would be horrible.
Okay.
But nobody pushes for that. That would be insane.
Okay, so this is where Destiny, if you want to debate, I'll debate you on this because this is natural. This is the thing. Okay, there is a liberal world order, and it came after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Okay, all right, because we were the West style of governing, right, was the only form of governing left over, okay? The Soviet Union fell away in, what is it, 91 or 94? When did this, hey, can y'all let me know when the Soviet Union fell apart? I think it was 91, but I think it might be 94. I don't know. But it was in the 90s, okay? So when it fell apart, we were the only bosses in town. And we said, hey, since we survived both wars, all right, and, like, we're still here and we're fucking loaded, all right, America was at that time, that means that the liberal world order is the best world order. And we have to spread that liberal agenda to the rest of the world. And that was an actual thing. So there are groups and special interest groups that are dedicated towards spreading that conflict. And realistically, if you want to go deep into it, Destiny, there's a bunch of, like, even a war in Ukraine and all that stuff, it has to do with what's going on with that agenda and how a lot of that stuff is running up against certain realities, right? And that reality is that China is eventually going to be a superpower on its own, and it looks like Russia, if they succeed out of doing this nonsense, they would come out on top too as well. So that's not a good thing, because now we go from a world where the United States was formerly dominant back to a world where there were multi superpowers that equally can fuck you up, right? Back then, we had the Soviet Union. For a while, we didn't, and we were top dogs. Now, China's on the rise. Russia's on the rise. It's a real conspiracy, okay? So it's out there. It's out there. So I'm seeing a lot of 91 and 92s in the chat. It was in the 90s, but yeah, let's continue. So this is where I think Destiny's wrong, but other than that, a lot of these youngins don't really understand the economical aspects of this conspiracy.
Okay, but one group of elites that decide everything because we are too dumb to decide for
That
ourselves.
would be insane too. Good thing nobody's pushing for that.
Okay.
Well, but
Is
aren't
it-
they
There are.
kind of pushing for it with like what you were saying before? Like the elites decided that because of climate change, all the farms should be shut down.
The elites don't
Well,
decide
maybe not
that.
the elites,
There
but the
are
government. Like the government. I
the
don't-
government, depending on where you live. If we live in a democracy, so the government is who we vote on, right? So if the government is deciding something, you don't like it, then you vote against it. That article that was written about the Netherlands showed that a lot of the people apparently were unhappy with some of the aggressive changes being made to farmers, so some people were pushing back against it. And I think there was a warning that one of the politicians gave that if you don't adhere to what the farmers want, there's going to be like a democratic blowback on your
What?
decisions.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Why is y'all hear how Pearl's asking these questions? It's so elementary, bro. It's like you acting like you didn't go to college. You're acting like a middle schooler, like right now. Like, why are you asking these questions that you're supposed to know the answer to? I'm not saying you're supposed to know but listen, you're part of this whole red pill garbage about, spreading misinformation and believing facts and evidence, right? So why is it that you're asking these questions in a manner that it seems as though you don't even know or pre-know some of the basic stuff? I'm not a geology or a historical nerd, but even I can tell you certain things that went on in history because of what I learned back in college or what I learned back in high school. So, Pearl, why are you acting? Either you're pretending to be ignorant or you're purposely being condescending. I can't tell, bro. But if I was in the same room as her, I'd be like, how don't you know this? Like, this is weird.
Crazy. You can like ruin someone's livelihood and you could be wrong. You know what I mean? Like the
I mean, you
experts
ruin
could be-
livelihoods
Wait,
and
could I? You always cut me off.
Sorry, because he's
Like-
paused, I remember.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they could literally pick to ruin someone's livelihood, and like the experts can be wrong. They're wrong all the time.
Sure, or they could be right and they could save lives, right? Jobs can be built and made off of the opportunities created because of what the government allows to happen in a country, or jobs can be destroyed depending on what we decide to make legal or illegal. Like, it just
Right?
depends
But then
on.
shouldn't it be like each individual person's because then you can kind of make decisions for yourself. Like shouldn't I be able to decide what emissions I want to do?
I mean, it depends because the things that
It depends on if you should make
It
decisions for
depends
yourself.
because when you're older than 12, you realize that the things that you do impact everybody else around you. So
That's facts, bro. Like, these guys are not being like, this is a selfish way of thinking, right? Okay, what if I want to decide the emissions I want to let out? Okay, that's fine. Actually, we did that when cars were invented, right? And we realized there was lead everywhere because we put that in our fuels, we put that in our pretty much crayons or pencils, all that stuff, right? Right. The same thing with emissions, right? We until we started putting ethanol and mixing all this different stuff with it, right? Things were pretty bad. Okay, so for you to say, listen, if people were left to their own devices, humanity would be selfish. You understand that, right? And people, when you get to a certain age, like Destiny's talking about, adulthood, you no longer care as much about, especially when you're voting in to government. It's not about you anymore, but the collective. That's why you pay taxes. That's why you vote, right? Because your money is supposed to theoretically go towards, the collective, right? Fire, police, general services, right? Understood. But if you're sitting here trying to make this statement, like, what if I want to do what I want to do? I get it. But what if what you want to do is also destructive to others, right? So wouldn't that make sense? You participating in a tax-paying system to abide by the laws that everyone else seemingly vote for. Maybe you didn't vote for it, right? But you live in a country where majority rules. So shouldn't that be fair, or do you not think that democracy should be a thing? I just asking for a friend. Leo, shout out to you for the $22 super chat. A little something for the great work you're doing here. Keep it up. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I said, bro, I don't know if you're a girl or boy, but let me know in the chat. Thank you so much.
kind of have to be cognizant of our neighbors.
Can't you argue that being economic, making the most money possible, is good for the environment?
No, because
What?
Sorry, go. You pause.
It's like he's so ready to just.
Well, because usually when online shit, when somebody stops, we jump in
Are
immediately.
you not a
So go ahead.
listener?
I know.
You heard what she just said? Can you argue that making the most money is also good for the environment? I don't know, Pearl. Can you make the argument that monopolies are beneficial for society? I don't know. I don't know, because when you do everything else in the pursuit of money and you care about fuck all, well, guess what happens? The environment suffers, or other people suffers. I mean, don't get me wrong. Aren't there areas in United States alone where literally there's a whole length of street just littered with factories, and people who are living near those blocks, they're getting cancer, right? Because of what the pollution those factories are emitting into the air, into the water systems, right? Into the lakes. So these pollutions are done by corporations that choose to chase money, right? Choose to chase profits, like you said, right? So looking at this real world example, Pearl, okay? You following me, girl? Looking at this real world example, let's take Monsanto, okay? For example, is Monsanto pursuing profits beneficial for society, the environment so far, in your logic? Like, why would you even ask that question? Oh my God. Like, you are supposed to be an educated Western woman, and you sounding mighty dumb right now. Like, this don't make any sense. Like, that was just a dumb statement to make. Let's see what Destiny got for a comeback. I gotta see this.
A super listener. Go ahead.
No, I played a documentary. Did you see him go on Tinder when we were watching a documentary that goes against everything he believes?
But
then when there was a BBC article that supports what he said,
Go. Isn't it possible that making the most money is good or something you said? Go ahead.
Yeah, because I went to India, right? When I was younger, my dad had a company in India, and it was like that was the most poverty and the most like environmentally like bad. Sorry, I'm not that smart. Sorry, but like place I've ever seen. So it was like,
Chat, why does she keep saying that, bro? Like, I feel like she's either trying to tell us something, or like this is a game, right? Because she keeps saying that she's not that smart. So I don't know if she's playing like 5-dimensional chess to sound smart even though you feel dumb, or sound dumb even though you are smart, right? I don't know if it's one of those 48 laws of power tricks, right? But why does she keep referring to herself as stupid, right? Listen, can y'all answer that for me? Or do you think she genuinely feels this way? I think so, right? But I don't know if this is a game. I don't understand what's going on, because listen, if you hear Pearl on her platform, like, she does make sense in certain aspects, right? So I beg to differ. How much of what she says is actually hers, like the real her, and how much of the rest is actually her not really knowing what the fuck's going on? Y'all understand what I'm trying to get at? Because it doesn't make any sense for you to be so opinionated but know nothing at the same time.
like I feel like in nicer neighborhoods, you could argue that like they care more about the environment, because if you go to anywhere poverty stricken, it's horrible. Like there's so much junk everywhere. Like that's the dirtiest place I've ever been to. India.
Yeah, but dirty doesn't necessarily translate to like destroying the environment, right? There are different types of dirty.
So. You been to India? Oh,
you've been to India. It's not an.
And here's the thing: they're arguing off of her main point, right? Shouldn't people be free to pursue profits, you know, if they wanted to, if it's beneficial for the environment? India is one of those countries too, as well. Okay, India, they're a bunch of business people, okay, that run the oil factories, the coal factories, and the energy industries that pollute the fuck out of India, and they don't care in the pursuit of profits. So again, Pearl, you got the answer to your question. If you leave capitalism to run away, meaning the individual pursuit, okay, of glory or money or whatever it is, right? Listen, if you leave people to their own devices, they don't give a shit about everyone else, okay? You will have dirty places, or what you would consider dirty places. I mean, India is, certain aspects of it, because you got to know where in India. Not all India is dirty, right? Same thing with Nigeria. There's certain aspects of Nigeria that's dirty, but not all of Nigeria is dirty, right? But you're going to have to ask yourself this question: how much of the environment contamination and pollution was due to some rich guy chasing money, right? Because he wanted to be high value because some bitch didn't give him attention in high school. How much of it was due to that? All right, so all this stuff just answers your question. That's why I don't understand like why these people are being so weird about it.
Argument, right? You could have like
I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to have a conversation.
You're trying to support a point that I disagree with that's contrary to my point. So that's an argument, right? Okay. So you could imagine areas that are incredibly fucking filthy versus other areas that are like very clean, but the clean area could be like way more destructive to an environment than a dirty area, right? Like we could imagine a whole household of people that like shit.
But according to Destiny, cow farts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Affect the environment.
I was going to finish there. You can imagine a household
cow
of
poop in the Netherlands.
Sometimes you use big words to like say.
Why are you interrupting me now after?
What? I feel like sometimes you use big words to make you feel smart. What are you talking about, Pearl? Why are you making these comments? Like, he's trying to explain himself. You asked a question, he let you answer with your daddy India story that you were telling, and as he's responding, you're saying that he's using big words to make y'all feel what? Hold up, let me run that back. Like, what is she talking about, bruh?
Like way more destructive to an environment than a dirty area, right? Like we could imagine a whole house full of people, a household of people that like shit.
But according to Destiny, cow farts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Affect the environment.
I was going to finish there. You can imagine a house full of
cow
people.
poop in the Netherlands.
Sometimes you use big words to like say.
Why are you interrupting me now after crying?
What? I feel like sometimes you use big words. He didn't even say any word that. What word was big? Destructive? Like who? What word in that sentence that Destiny said did you not understand, Pearl? Like, what do you mean big words? Like, and Marty, facts. This is what I was alluding to, because you know how some of these feminist grifters, or not feminist grifters, I'm sorry, these are conservative tradcon grifters, okay? You know how some of these girls, they like to play up that femininity bullshit, right? So I don't know how much of this is a game, like to play up the femininity, and how much of this is her actually being dumb, right? Because she also goes on to say a bunch of other wild things in this statement in referring to women. So I don't know if she's doing this on purpose, like acting like a dumb woman to give off a image, or is she really dumb? Like, I'm genuinely confused, Marty, but I'm onto that, bro, because that's how some of these feminine women try to portray themselves as being a feminine or being in their femininity, like acting stupid and, you know, preaching about cleaning chores and having babies. Like, it's just so weird.
Every time I cut you off, I let you finish.
I'm a woman.
Okay,
you
that's
know how
cute.
we are.
Okay,
See,
so you could have.
Bruh, she just said it in that sentence, like the next sentence. I'm sorry, I'm a woman. You know how we are. Like, she's like, is this hold up. Let's run that whole sentence back, y'all. Hold up.
Like way more destructive to an environment than a dirty area, right? Like we could imagine a whole house full of people, a household of people that like shit.
But according to Destiny, cow farts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Affect the environment.
I was going to finish there. You can imagine a house full
cow
of people.
poop in the Netherlands.
Sometimes you use big words to like say.
Why are you interrupting me now after crying every time I cut you off? I let you finish.
I'm a woman.
Okay,
you know
that's
how
cute.
we are.
Okay, so you could have.
Right? Like, does she mean that, or is this cap? Like, Marty, me and you might be on the same page here, bro. Me and you might be on the same page here, bro. I think this might be a front. I think she's playing stupid on purpose, bro, and it's probably working. She's either like, bro, it's just either she's stupid or she's calculated. But why that statement was just so fucking weird, bro. Like, that would even you're a Redpill content creator that's supposed to be spitting facts. You were trained directly from Kevin Samuels himself. Why would you just then reduce yourself to just a woman? Like, you know how we are. Like, what the fuck? She's playing this up, bro. She is playing this up, definitely.
A house full of people that are pooping, shitting, pissing, whatever, vomiting all over the house, and that would be fucking disgusting, right? But that house would probably be less environmentally destructive than another house that's like fucking dumping toxic chemicals into a river behind their fucking shed. Right?
Monsanto.
Even though one looks disgusting, the other looks clean. The clean one could still theoretically be worse for the environment.
It could, but like typically, what is? Like, I just imagine, like, just common sense here. Like, this is just me thinking. You don't have to. I know.
Sure.
But
so
I'm
common.
just thinking. Okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just thinking that like a dirty area seems like it would be worse for the environment than a clean area.
No, it's cow poop.
Sure.
Cow farts. Determine.
Common sense would probably lead you in a direction.
Common sense is cow poop.
More consumption of energy in general is probably in general going to be more environmentally damaging.
How do we know when is the environment perfect? Like, when do we have like a goal? Like,
yeah,
what?
we do. There's a fucking.
What the fuck does that? Look at Destiny scratching his head. Look at this. Look at him scratching his head. What kind of question was that? Oh my god! Like, when is this climate stuff gonna be over? Like, do you know? Like, it's so childish. Like, what is it? Yo, Destiny, dog, I don't even know how you're doing this. Like, these people don't seem serious. And listen, the really sad thing is, like, they are spreading a lot of misinformation to a lot of dudes out there, young, impressionable dudes out there. Yet, look at the elementary grade level questions she's asking. Like, whoa, see, you see what I mean? Like, I don't know if she's genuinely dumb or if she's like, if she's doing this on purpose, but like, I'm so shocked. Like, why would you even ask a question like that? How would Destiny know when climate change is gonna be over? Like, how would he know that? Hold up, what?
general is probably in general going to be more environmentally damaging.
How do we know when is the environment perfect? Like when do we have like a goal?
Never. How about that? I mean, the climate's gonna keep changing. Like, what?
Yeah, we do. There's the fucking the world climate people like try to figure out like what they think a healthy amount of like certain gases are in the air.
Well, you feel strongly about this. So like, what's the goal? Like, what's the end?
I don't. The end is they've got different. Do I know the exact fucking numbers?
What's your idealistic? Because I agree with Pearl. I would like to be able to be self-governing. I don't want people to tell me what to do, how much carbon I should emit, what I should do with my money, CBDCs. I don't like any of that. And you're like, well, your neighbor, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then that mentality goes to the fact where if you believe that it's like shame people, unvaccinated people shouldn't have rights. And that's why we're watching this documentary, because if you believe in everything, that's what your people said. Unvaccinated people shouldn't have rights. They should not be able to go outside. Only vaccinated people are allowed on planes. Only vaccinated people are allowed to travel. That's your ideology. I am completely against that. I know Pearl agrees.
You think unvaccinated people shouldn't travel?
I never said that. He's just got
that's what the liberals think. That's why the liberals made it mandatory
in his head, but that's cool.
That's what everybody who watches you thinks.
You guys are the best streaming.
You originally, so you asked me what the goal should be, right?
To be fair, a bunch of leftists went crazy with that vaccine nonsense, bro. That is one thing history is not gonna die, right? The day that CNN and all them dudes went crazy over this vaccine stuff, like we have to admit there was a bunch of things a lot of those people got wrong about this, and even till today, there's a bunch of things a lot of people got wrong with it, and there's nothing wrong with getting it. Not knowing everything, right? There's nothing wrong by getting it wrong, okay? There's no problem with that. The problem comes in your own ignorance when you're so sure about your own ignorance that you impose your will on other people, all right? And that's what was the issue with that whole COVID thing. But realistically, yeah, I mean, the lefts went crazy with this. So I think that's what helped fuel the conspiracy that the far right has been pushing now. Antonio Wayne, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. He says, "Sup, Duke, Lucario, Miles, or Coach Greg Adams should have vetted Pearly for at least 18 to 24 months to see if she was worthy to be in a red pill or give game." Yeah, no, not just Lucario and Miles and Coach Greg Adams. I fuck with Coach Greg Adams. O'Shea Duke Jackson put a video about supporting her. Obsidian, whoa. Obsidian, bring that ass here, boy. Bring that bald head ass over here, boy. You said that this woman should be the leader of the black manosphere. Your dumb ass said that. A white woman leading a black manosphere. How the fuck is that working out, huh? Look how far down the conspiracy rabbit hole she's going down to. She's doing content with guys like Nick Fuentes that believe that black people are dumb because genetics, right? That's the person right now that is supposed to be the leader of the black manosphere. That's you, Obsidian. So absolutely, Antonio, I agree with you. There were a bunch of big manosphere content creators that dropped the ball on this one. And you know what? They're going to keep dropping the ball because Pearl has clout. So they don't give a fuck. These motherfuckers ain't gonna care. And again, this is a fair criticism because I also criticize people, content creators I fuck with, okay? I'm an equal opportunist over here at this channel. That's just what it is, all right? So, Coach Ray Adams, I fuck with you, but you should have done better. A lot of y'all niggas, I fuck with y'all, but y'all should have done better than to just let Pearl just jump up here and just say whatever she wants to say and then go. Because you know what that does? Y'all, a lot of y'all manosphere content creator leaders, y'all don't understand what this does to your reputation. When you go out here promoting clearly people who are inexperienced like Pearl, okay, and they grow to a size where they eventually start embarrassing themselves, it comes back against y'all and y'all credibility, right? Because y'all were the ones that boosted these people up. How's it gonna feel now, Obsidian? All right, the person that you said leads the black manosphere or should be leading the black manosphere, a woman, okay, she's doing content with a individual who not only is a domestic terrorist, but believes that black people are dumb because their genetics is just not right, right? Or Jewish people are responsible for the suffering in the world. That's who she's collaborating with. She's about to hop on that platform, by the way. Y'all think about that. She's gonna go on Rumble and she's gonna be a monster. Guaranteed, bruh. Guaranteed. So it goes back in the face of all of you content creators because what it says is y'all would just put anything in front of y'all audience for clout. Y'all don't do any vetting. Y'all don't do any research. it just brings off the notion that y'all actually don't really care about the people or the men that you claim to care about. Because if you did, y'all would call out this bullshit a long ass time ago rather than just jumping on the hype train. Antonio, that's a good ass point, bro.
There's probably some like range of temperature that's broadly healthy for most of the ecosystems on the planet. And when we get too far outside of those, shit gets really weird.
How do they know what's healthy?
What's healthy is they probably take historic measurements of things like carbon gases or carbon dioxide and stuff in the atmosphere. They compare that with like trends in temperature, and they say that, well, if it goes up this much, the temperature will probably go up this much. We don't want it to go up this much, so we try to keep it in like a certain range.
But how do they know they're right?
You continue.
Hold up, Mr. Everything. What did she say about slavery? Put that in the chat right now, because was it when she made the comparison to women? Like women being in the kitchen is equivalent to slaves? Or is this something like legitimately crazy? Y'all let me know, dog, because like she's going off the deep end, bro. And I think it's this connection right over here with Sneeko, bro. The longer she's with these red pill dudes, bro, the more saturated her mind becomes with a lot of this bullshit. But let's continue. Let me know in the chat. What did she say about slavery, bro?
To take measurements, you continue to analyze the data, you continue to measure carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and then you compare that to surface temperatures in different parts of the planet.
You know why I don't believe in studies?
Okay.
Why don't you believe in studies?
Because
It's all controlled.
there was a guy that won the Nobel Peace Prize or some really, whatever the big one was for science, and he faked all the studies, and he got to the highest thing.
W. Pearl.
And I'm like,
How do you know the nail polish you're wearing is going to melt through your fingernails?
What the fuck did she just she sounds like one of these old ladies. Like Pearl is the oldest person like I've ever seen. Like I've ever heard, bro. She sound old, but she young as hell, right? She sound like a lady that you will find at a bridge club, right? You know, with all these old ladies, you know, just cackling away. I don't believe in studies. Like she says that weird high pitched voice. It's just it comes off naive when she talks, but it's also like, damn, bro, like what's wrong with you, girl? But did you just say you don't believe in studies? What? I thought we were the space of facts and evidence, right? Because that's what we harp on the women about. Because the women, when they accuse men of certain things or they make statements about society and how unfair society is, right? A lot of us, our criticism for them is, where is your facts and evidence? Where are the studies proving what you're saying to be true? So why is that different in this space? Why is that different here, where some of the leaders don't believe in facts and evidence? What kind of bullshit is that? So what are we just going around here saying to all these young men, huh? And this is what I've been telling y'all for the longest time. All these facts that these guys in the manosphere that are saying, oh yeah, women, they divorce more than men and all this stuff like that. The numbers are there, right? But when you, what is it? It's like 50% divorce rate or a 60% divorce rate, right? So the numbers are there, but when you look into the actual stats and data, it tells a different story. And that's what a lot of these red pill guys don't want to even dive into. That big number, right, especially when you're pointing at the divorce statistics, it looks bad because it looks like there's a mass wave of women just dumping men in mass, right? It's even the stat is even crazy that it was able to fool Pearl into making a dumb statement that she said that women love to divorce men for no reason. She said that. Like, and this was on her platform, which is surprising because she's usually smart on her platform. She's dumb when she goes on other people's platforms. So the fact that she said that women just like to divorce for fun, just completely negating everything. Like, oh yeah, the men has no accountability in this issue whatsoever. And it's not just saying, because Duke, you're just simping for men or women, right? No, that's not what it is, bro. It's the fact that there's accountability both ways. If a man and a woman both get in a relationship and they break up, there's usually something there. Now, every once in a while, or you say most of the time, right? There are situations where either party slips up or either party they stop doing what it is that union was, and then the other party steps out. That happens, okay? But for you to look at this massive stat and say because one massive party is leaving in overwhelming numbers, and because of that, it means that one gender is to blame for all of divorces. And when you put things that way, what you're doing is you're taking accountability away from the men, right? You're making things so simple, so black and white that it removes accountability from the men and refuses for them to help see the error of the mistakes, right? Because listen, I went through a divorce too. I was married. I was divorced, right? I've had girlfriends. I've had breakup, right? And you don't see me acting angry. You don't see me fucking, and I was cheated on, which is crazy, right? Everybody's been cheated on, but it's not one of those things. Listen, bro. When you're secure in yourself and you understand how things go, you're not gonna go into automatically buying into this notion that, oh, it's all her fault. She was the one to blame. She cheated on me. It's all her fault. That's such an ignorant and childish way to think about things. It's crazy because it's not even leaving me room to grow. All right. So what you do in the breakup is analyze what went wrong on your side, analyze clearly what went wrong on her side, and move on. But you acknowledge what you did wrong and what you could do better. That's how you grow and learn. But to sit there and just say, no, she cheated on me because of X, Y, and Z, well, then there's a problem. Because for me, I can tell you all the reasons, why my shit fell apart, and I would tell you I was not an innocent party. I can guarantee you that. I was not an innocent party. All right, I got lazy. I gained a bunch of weight. All right, I was too much of a workaholic. I stopped paying attention. Right, so when you do all those thinking, you start to realize a bunch of things, and you start to think, okay, maybe I was a little bit too pressed. Let me just take a step back and work on my skills and grow for the better. But when you come into this space, you got girls like Pearl who's taking the accountability off of all these dudes, right, and say, no, it's the women, because women just divorce men for fun. Right? They just love the idea of divorcing. Women just love the idea of men cheating on them. Right? It's like it's like y'all don't have any facts or evidence to back any of your statements up, but you're over here just stating them like they're true, getting all these young men to believe this shit, right? Oh, all women are 304s. No, bitch. It's the bitches you're dealing with in Miami. Okay? Not the girls out here in Oregon, not the girls out here in Wisconsin, not the girls out here in Indiana. It's the girls in Miami, bruh. It's your area, all right? And areas that are like Miami. So it's just weird how they have this warped, one-sided view of thinking and not realize that they're the opposite of feminists. And that's one thing I'm not going to stand. So y'all coming in here, oh, Duke, you're blue-pilled. You're blue-pilled because you're trying to see both sides. Hey, just so you know, y'all are just like feminists. That's what, if you're incapable, if you're so incapable of seeing things from a based, rational perspective, meaning a balanced view, you're not ready for the real world. You're being propagandized, okay? You're the opposite of a feminist. You've become something you hate. You understand that, right? So excuse the fuck out of me and the chat because we don't want to buy into your delusion. We don't want to be the opposite of feminists, okay? Isn't a feminist the same thing we're supposed to be fighting? So why is it that Pearl doesn't trust studies? Make it make sense, bruh. She's sitting here telling men about divorces and telling them all the facts about women. Where's the studies she did? Oh, wait, she doesn't trust studies. y'all are being played. I gotta run that back. Y'all are being played. Mr. Everything, she said slavery was overblown. Yeah, bruh, fuck Pearl. Hey, if she says slavery was overblown, I can listen. Yo, Mr. Everything, I understand why, because she doesn't believe studies are a thing. So she didn't do enough studies to realize that slavery was kind of a big deal. It had generational impact. Just saying. So for her to just make a statement as ignorant as slavery is being overblown, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. And you made a bag off the black manosphere, bro. Y'all are just punching air right now, huh? Yeah.
Say that, well, if it goes up this much, the temperature will probably go up this much. We don't want it to go up this much, so we try to keep it in like a certain range.
But how do they know they're right?
You continue to take measurements, you continue to analyze the data, you continue to measure carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and then you compare that to surface temperatures in different parts of the planet.
You know why I don't believe in studies?
Why, Pearl?
Why don't you believe in studies?
Because
it's all controlled.
There was a guy that won the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever the big one was for science, and he faked all the studies, and he got to the highest thing.
W. Pearl.
And I'm like,
how do you know the nail polish you're wearing is going to melt through your fingernails?
What does that have to do with the...
I don't know. How did you get here tonight? Did you take a car?
What? What do you mean? What does that have to do with it? What do you mean? What do you mean? Bruh, here's something these red pillars, when they make these arguments, they don't understand, right? Because they think, so what Destiny's trying to get her to equate to is, hey, listen, you're saying you don't trust studies. How do you trust that the nails on your fingertips isn't gonna like give you fucking lead poisoning, right? It's through testing. That's what he's alluding to, right? It's through studies, testing, and research. So people, scientists, people who go to school for this shit, okay, they do their research and studies, and they publish those studies, all right? And some of them, they submit those for, licensing or copyright or trademarks or whatever it is they want to do, okay? Like some of these vaccine corporations that do it, right? So they do these studies to make sure that whatever they put out there is safe. Now, not 100% of things that get out there are good, okay? Some things slip through the cracks. But the fact of the matter is, everything that we have is studies were done to be able to bring that to the market. You understand that? So for you just looking at Destiny and saying, well, what does my nails have to do anything? He's trying to make a point. And these red pill guys they're too blockhead, bro. Like they're the opposite of these feminists. This is what I'm talking about. If their argument, like, if it doesn't fit their narrative, it's like they can't hear it. Like they can't see. Like, they can't see it. If it doesn't fit their narrative or toe the line, it's like they can't see what's literally in front of them, right? And that's the comparison he's trying to make. Genshin Noir says, watch O'Shea's video. He shows what he says. All right, I'm going to show. And I'm glad O'Shea did a video. I hope O'Shea was very pragmatic about this because O'Shea was I fuck with O'Shea, so like I know he's gonna say something pretty good about this that hopefully criticize that because O'Shea is pro-black as hell. Like I don't know anyone more pro-black than O'Shea, other than what's his name, Umar Johnson, and I think he's beefed with Umar Johnson before, so I know he pro-black. If Pearl says some shit like that, which it's proven now that she said that slavery was overblown, I'm sure O'Shea had a few choice words. I'm gonna find that video. We're gonna play that video tonight. Because I fuck with O'Shea.
Right? You're listening to a headphone. You don't think it's going to explode in your ear, right? All of these things are built on the collective knowledge that these horrible globalist institutions have been pushing.
Sometimes I feel like people make studies to say water isn't wet, but water's still wet.
What do you think is more likely? Somebody making a study saying water isn't wet, or some fucking retard on YouTube shoving a video at you knowing he's going to get paid off by people because he gets people like you guys to repeat the findings, right?
BBC is based.
You guys will say shit like, I don't believe
Destiny
studies.
trusts mainstream
I don't
news.
believe studies.
know.
Meanwhile, you rely on like the advancement that science and technology makes in every single other area of your life without questioning it.
Do you know what? Like, it's just okay when you tell me things like a dirty river, like something, places that look dirty are actually clean, and places that look clean are actually dirty. I don't need to. You could give me study after study after study, but some things are just like common sense.
What? What the fuck? Wait. First of all, what are you saying, Pearl, dog? I feel like studies are just there to tell you that water isn't wet or water's wet. Like, like the fact that she's just trivializing all of this is hilarious to me, first of all. And then second of all, like, wow, Pearl. I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. Guys, she might be stupid. Chat. Hey, she might be fucking stupid, bro. I don't think this is a game. Yo, hey, chat, I'm. Y'all gotta play that back. Oh my god, bro. She said studies to just prove that water is wet. Oh my god, girl. Hey, she might be dumb. Hey, yo, bro. Hey.
Rely on like the advancement that science and technology makes in every single other area of your life without questioning it.
Do you know what? Like, it's just okay when you tell me things like a dirty river, like something, places that look dirty are actually clean, and places that look clean are actually dirty. I don't need to. You can give me study after study after study, but some things are just like common sense.
Hey, Pearl. If you don't need studies to tell you about waters, okay, go to the forest and just go drink the puddle that you see down there. Okay, I'm sure that you don't need a study to tell you that water is great for you. Okay, so just go in the middle of the woods. All right, you find a nice little puddle. All right. right? You just drink all the little water that you can out of that puddle, okay? It's just as safe as tap water. I promise you. You do not need any studies whatsoever. You don't need studies whatsoever to tell you that the pond water is the same cleanness as the tap water, all right? You don't need studies because studies, it don't matter, all right? You got it all figured out, girl. Like, yo. Dog, Chad, I'm sweating. I'm dying over here, bro. I can't believe what I'm here talking.
If I were to have you walk near a radioactive plant, would you be able to see the
I
radiation?
said it in general.
No, you didn't. You just...
Sorry, I want to add it. I want to edit
In
this.
general...
Sorry.
Oh, so you're going to make an exception for all the times that you're wrong.
Yes.
So what you're saying is nothing.
No.
She hasn't been saying anything this entire time, bruh. She's just been asking dumb questions, all right, and making stupid statements that don't make any sense, but somehow she says it in this weird, condescending way that sounds like she's smart, but she's just really being stupid, bruh. Like, yo, Chad, like, I legitimately think she's dumb, bro. We for real let an idiot run the manosphere, bruh. Like, yo, can y'all I'm so shocked, dog. We let an idiot get to the highest position in the manosphere. And you know what? What am I talking about? We let two idiots. I see two idiots on screen that got to the highest level. One's no longer on YouTube, and the other one's making a bag, okay, and thinks that slavery was overblown. Oh, my God, dog. I can't. What does this say about the men who are uplifting her? What does it say about y'all? Like, this has to hold a mirror to your faces, right? Because I'm sorry, if the person I'm thinking of as a leader is coming up on another platform saying this bullshit, I have to question a couple things, bro. First of all, why, as a grown adult, am I following a young person about how the world works, okay? And clearly they sound inexperienced, okay? So, yo, bro, we for real let these two reach the highest of heights in the manosphere. I can't believe this. Yo, men are really either men are really that desperate and they're suffering that bad, or the men are purposely doing this. All right, and this is why when some of y'all come into my Instagram and some of y'all send me these emails like, "Oh, Duke, you're so anti-men." No. If anything, I'm more for men than any of y'all these dudes claiming to save y'all lives. I'm actually doing way more work than what they're doing right now, because at least I'm not afraid to tell you what's up. Okay, at least I'm not afraid to tell you that the emperors over here, they ain't wearing clothes, bruh. They butt ass naked with full cheeks on display right in front of y'all, and you can't even see it because of what? Because there are people up there, and you don't care where they come from. You don't care their age or experience level. You only care that they say what you want them to say. So realistically, who's really for truth here? Like, is it really y'all, or is it? I'm so, like, help me understand. I'm trying to figure out who's really for truth here. Y'all claiming y'all want to escape the Matrix, but everyone else outside this bullshit see the Matrix for what it is. Y'all are being led by idiots. I hope you know that, right? She thinks she doesn't. Your leaders don't even believe in studies, bro. I'm sorry, dog. I just
dirty?
No, I think water is wet. I think most places that are
you just
dirty.
have no.
I think
Let's watch the documentaries that dictate
You're
everyone.
gonna
take all
Water
their
is
shit.
wet.
Free anal dildos
he said
for
I was
everybody, I
unreasonable
think.
yesterday.
Yeah,
He said before we even started the podcast, he said, "Oh, you're unreasonable."
Bro, you had a strong opinion on Tate, and you didn't even know what he'd been fucking charged with on that
I didn't have
podcast.
a strong
Okay.
opinion. I said from what I know, I don't think he would do that.
What has happened to you? Are you his personal fucking friend?
I said let's wait till the facts come
Free
out.
tape.
From what I know, I don't think he would do that. But you don't know anything because you didn't even do the research about his situation. So what do you know? You don't know anything. So that's what he's talking about, Pearl. You have these strong opinions about everything, but you don't know anything. Like, so how the fuck did you get to this position that you are in the manosphere if these dudes that were elevating you didn't just elevate you because they like hearing whatever it is that they like to hear? So it exposes the guys, if anything else, bro. It really exposes y'all because it exposes y'all are just betas that like to be spoon-fed shit that just makes sense to y'all. Your worldview. That's just what it is. And it's even better if that shit that y'all like to hear is coming from another woman. Y'all love that shit. Right? Which is crazy to me because it just proves that y'all niggas that are elevating these people, y'all niggas ain't worth shit either. That's just, y'all the exact same as these feminists trying to oppress y'all. That's just it.
Based on what I know, which is that he's put out a whole series of videos on how to sex traffic. And then he's been charged with sex trafficking.
No, because
based on what you know,
from what I understand, and there could be more facts that come out later. It's like you just want to like argue. I swear.
No, I just like to.
And she does this too. This is why I think she's so condescending, right? Because whenever she gets pressed, she then flips it on the other person, like, "Oh, you're just trying to argue. Oh, you're not really listening. Oh, you know." She did that to Hafiz. And I remember, y'all remember when she debated Hafiz, she implored the same tactics. The only difference is Hafiz, when he responded, he was like all over the place, right? And to be fair, Destiny's kind of all over the place too. But like, at least Destiny's a little bit more pointed and he can call her out in like right in the middle of it. But this is the kind of tactic she does, right? So that's why I can't tell if Pearl is actively playing stupid or like this is all a game for her to try to win a conversation or a debate optically. You know what I'm saying? So I can't trust these people, bro. They're all fake.
I just like to look at the facts, and I like to say, where do they leave
the facts that you like?
The
facts that you believe.
From what I understood, the girls could leave at any time, and I just
they definitely could.
If you could leave at any time,
and then he'll make some shit up like he stole the passports, and then that's a clip.
I mean,
and then XQC will get a clip and say like Sneako's so far gone, and then Dexerto on Twitter will be like, oh my god, he stole passports because Destiny lies for 5 seconds, reads one guy in his fucking chat, and then now that's part of the story. Blue hair people are changing lives. And $33 from them just says, yo, Sneako, unplug Destiny from the Matrix and dye his hair red.
Meanwhile, Tate's got a whole video series on how to...
Bro, it seemed like they're trying to plug him into the Matrix and Destiny's not going.
Sex traffic women, scam them on their fucking taxes, and then fucking scam the customers at the same time, and you're like, W Tate in the chat, free Tate, I'm sure he's innocent.
That's why I think these guys are legitimately stupid, because you can't look at a person like Andrew Tate that like made his money pretty much destroying the lives of men, you know, giving them there were guys who gave up their life savings and their inheritance to be with one of these cam girls Andrew Tate was pimping out. Okay, they lost their life savings to Andrew Tate behind the keyboard, which is kind of sus, by the way. Okay, they lost that shit. So you want to tell me the same guy who's responsible for making men weak and profiting off of it? Okay, you want to tell me that same guy all of a sudden changes a new leaf, and now all these same guys who are, you know, clearly seeing this trafficking issue for what it is, they're willing to just look the other way. Because this guy, he did a bunch of cool things on social media and said all the right stuff. So he get to be the leader or the new godfather of the Redpill space, all right? And on top of that, he's an Islam brother now. Yep, he's a verified, bona fide Muslim, even though he lives his life like a liberal man. How does that work, huh? Sneako's a liberal dude. He lives his life like a liberal bro. He tries to claim like he's a conservative bro, but he's a liberal bro, okay? Pearl is a liberal woman. She's not. I don't know if she's playing dumb or acting stupid, but she's not a conservative woman either. She can claim she's conservative. That's a liberal woman. So I see two liberal people trying to convince their audiences to be conservative. Like, y'all are crazy. Y'all do not live in the real world.
Okay, you weren't talking about sex trafficking until he was arrested.
All I want to know is, could the girls leave? Could they not leave? If they could leave, I don't feel bad for you.
You know that's true of every woman in every abusive relationship generally ever, right? That's true of like every kidnapped child that gets left in a home.
So if you're in an abusive relationship, are you trafficking your wife?
I'm super. If you are in an abusive,
simple question.
Do y'all even know what trafficking means? Like, I think this is where the issue is coming from. I don't think these guys know what trafficking means.
Yeah, if you're making her do fucking cam shit, you're stealing the money from her. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So an abusive relationship between a man and a woman, That's him trafficking her.
Hold on.
That's using the lover boy method to make her fall in love and she's being trafficked.
If you bring her to another country, you didn't tell her originally that your goal was to have her fucking sex work for you while you stole money from her? Yeah, that's by definition sex trafficking.
I'm imagining telling this story to my dad. Okay, I'm just imagining. So, hey, Dad.
Do you think...
Hold on, let me see. He's so ready
Let's hear from the female. Yeah, let her say one sentence.
He's just an arguer.
He's a master debater.
It's like the most retarded, like, anti-people. Okay, I can't believe you guys are the ones giving relationship advice. You don't understand basic...
We're trying to... Hey, Destiny, we're trying to ask the same question, dog.
Human interaction. It's like unbelievable,
I don't
dude.
understand interaction. I'm trying to talk to like.
I know you're about to say some retarded shit about your dad. Go ahead.
Number two.
Oh, that was me.
I also don't give relationship advice, so that's okay. Now 3.
You have wife school.
No, wife school. Have you seen the episode?
No, get to the point though. So explain to your dad.
Okay.
So say you got flown out to Romania. What happens? What's the explanation?
Okay, so I say, Dad, I fell in love with this guy. And then he took me to Romania. I went on his private jet. It was a lot of fun. And then I get there and he asks me to do cam work. And then I decided to do cam work and I made triple the money I was making before. And now it's over and he trafficked me. My dad would look at me like I was nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
now it's over and now I'm crying. But
yeah,
I was doing it repeatedly and I even in different countries in Luton and in Bucharest. And I was happy and I showed up for work on time every single day. And I made a lot of money that I would not have made before, and I could have left.
But you're making it seem like, okay, Pearl, that was just, first of all, that you probably be dumb enough to think that you weren't trafficked or think that it was your fault. But if you were messaging a dude back and forth who seemed too good to be true, and this guy is telling you that he wants to be with you, okay, and not, listen, and all you have to do was just fly over to his villa in a completely different country that you don't know the rules or the laws, everybody speaks the same different languages, okay? And the moment you get there, right, the same guy who's telling you he's in love with you and he wants you to, spend the rest of his life with them, right? You go into his villa, you see all these other girls there, they're naked, they gotta spread their cheeks in front of a camera for incels online, right? And he says, oh, by the way, you gotta do this now. Maybe you might not feel offended, Pearl, but I'm sure there are women out there, normal women, and I'm not saying you're not a normal woman, Pearl. I'm just saying a normal woman, all right, who fell for this bullshit would feel betrayed, would feel lied to, okay? And on top of that, some of these women, they aren't on the same high value level as Andrew Tate. So they don't have the bread to just fly back home, on a whim, right? Some of them do, and the others don't, okay? And to top it all off, they're in a land where they don't even speak the language, bruh. A corrupt land where they don't speak the language. You think they're gonna be able to go home like that? That's not how that shit works, bruh. And on top of that, Andrew Tate's a fucking kickboxer that hangs around with mafia-looking bodyguards around his mansion. So if the rumors are true that he's taking passports, like, you got to look at the whole situation, and you guys need to stop being biased about it, because that's what you guys are doing right now. This is what I'm talking about. You guys are feminists, dog. Like, you're the opposite side of feminists because you're being biased, dog. We have to be straightforward on both sides. That woman clearly she's not in the right power dynamic, okay? Tate has a lot of power over her because she's in a land where she doesn't feel like she even knows how to get around to even go home, okay? So the fact that she's sitting here comparing herself to a situation that had nothing to do with her is just very interesting, right? Emmanuel, shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, Destiny being right around idiot doesn't make him smart. No, it doesn't, right? That's like being the smartest one around 5-year-olds, right? And I'm not saying Sneeko and Pearl are 5-year-olds, but they kind of remind me of 5-year-olds. But it's true, right? A lot of this stuff, like, but think about it, okay? Destiny is the one other person that's outside the space that these guys would be willing to debate because the clout is there, right? Because they can get the clout off of it. Other than that, realistically, debating these guys are easy. It's easy work for a lot of these guys because their points, once you push them enough on it, it turns out that these guys are advocating for the opposite of feminists and what they advocate for, but they're just as extreme, right? So yeah, and what Destiny's doing is pointing out the hypocrisies, and them trying to be biased with it, it just comes off stupid. And the arguments they're making to justify it makes them look like they're idiots, bruh. And it's sad, but it's true. But overall, I do think Destiny is a smart guy, though. I think he's definitely sharp, so we can't take that away from him because he's been debating for a while. I've seen some of his older stuff, so he's been doing some stuff for a while. So he's not dumb. He's a sharp guy.
because I had my passport. I wasn't kept in a cage, and there was 75 of us, and I made more money than I would have made regardless, and I was in love
Did
with the
either
guy
of
the
you
whole
ask
time.
questions if any of the underage people on Epstein Island could leave?
If any of the
How are
If
you
any of the
equating
underage people on
Romania-
Epstein, I'm just asking a question. You're not going to answer because you're a coward.
No,
Well, you answer it pearly things.
I'll
Would you?
answer.
Have you
You make
ever
these
wondered?
false
Have you ever wondered if
equivalencies.
any
You
of the
really
people?
don't
Because
argue in good faith.
So I'm
That's a
arguing in
different
super
word.
good faith. You guys are the ones wheeling out that. Well,
Bro, like oh my god, the gaslighting, Pearl. Really? He's not arguing in good faith?
I told my dad that I could leave at any time,
Right.
ignoring the fact that I'm in another country, ignoring the fact that I don't speak the language, ignoring the fact that I might not have the money to
Chad,
book
you
the
see how he
ticket,
just equated
ignoring the
Epstein's
fact that
Island to
he is
Bucharest?
accused of using physical and psychological intimidation to keep the girls there, ignoring the fact that some girls have come out with testimony saying they weren't allowed to leave the house
That's not
without
true.
an escort. That is true.
And not
What are you talking about, Sneeko? We literally saw in a 5-second clip how he manipulated Aiden. Okay, Aiden Ross. Okay, we saw that. Like the way he was working on Aiden's mind in that 5 seconds worth of dialogue told me everything I need to know about Andrew Tate. That dude is a manipulator, bro. Like that dude can be smooth with his words, especially if he gets the right person. Okay, and it turns out Aiden Ross was the right person, bro. He had old boy sniffing his own seat after dude got up and left. Okay, if dude is sniffing his seat that he sat on, right? The dude's crazy. Like he's clearly got some linguistic game, right? I mean, his dad was a linguistic specialist in the Navy, wasn't he? So I'm sure some of that shit rubbed off on Tate. But he's a manipulative dude, bro. Like we can't. Come on, dog.
Our girls that have come
sources.
out, anonymous, that are on record with prosecutors right now, so
Look,
they might show up in
if-
court, right? These
if-
are all things that are out there that you are conveniently choosing to ignore because you get a lot of fucking clout sucking up to them, which is fine. I understand. Let me finish. I'm trying to finish my thing. You got to talk about your dad, okay? That's fine. So I was just curious if either of you have asked, did any of the 15, 16, 17-year-old girls on Epstein's Island, did they ever ask to leave? Why have neither of you asked that? Right? If you're 17 years old, how retarded are you?
Can I-
it's just
can I-
it has nothing to do
Can
with
I?
what
Well,
we're talking about.
from what I
What? He's just giving you an example, but if using a different character, right? He's using Epstein instead of Tate. So he's asking you a similar question, bruh. Like, answer the question. You notice how when they get pressed and there's a mirror held to them, they're completely dismissive. This is great. Like, just the willful ignorance, bruh. They're completely dismissive. And watch how they just artfully ignore the question.
understood from what and there could be facts I don't know. I thought the girls were of age. Were they not?
I'm waiting for the
Tate-
Epstein Island answer. I'm waiting to see if either of you guys are brave enough to enter an actual answer out of that.
Look at the Epstein Island answer. Did they ask?
Chad, type of one if Destiny's question has nothing to
Do
do
you
with
think
what we're talking
that? Do you
about.
think it would have mattered if
I don't know all the facts about Epstein Island.
It's classic Pearl. It's just, I don't know anything about anything.
But would you defend
Whatever.
Epstein then? Would you say, "Oh, I'm going to be agnostic on Epstein until like more information comes
Well,
out"?
could you? It's like you don't argue in good faith. It's a bit.
That's
Oh!
the answer. That's what you want to say to avoid answering any questions.
No,
Okay,
I'm
that's
about
okay.
to. I'm about to answer. It's like, what is up with this guy?
Oh man.
So
Can we watch this vaccine?
No, I want to hear an answer. She's going to get there after calling me bad faith for the fourth time. Go ahead.
it's okay. Epstein's Island. They were underage, right? You can't consent if you're underage.
You don't know if they were underage in every country. I don't know what the age of consent is there.
If they're overage. And
But yeah, but if you're 17, couldn't you still walk away?
if you're 17,
Can't you still walk away?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you ask if any of the girls on Epstein's... In that case, it wouldn't have been child sex trafficking. It would have just been fucking
But
17-year-olds.
they're underage.
Yeah, then it would have been fucking 16-year-olds. But you wouldn't say that it was sex trafficking if they could leave at any time.
That's a good argument.
Oh my
It's
god.
not a good argument.
Are you that stupid, girl? Oh my fucking god, dude. Yo, whose chick is this, bro? Where did she come from, bro? Like, yo, bruh. I can't. Yo, she might be stupid, bro. Like, yo, she might be dumb. I'm sorry, yo, bro.
No, I mean but they're underage, so they can't consent. I think that's.
We're not
the
asking if they
difference.
can consent. At
But
17, do you know if you want to be trafficked or
But
not?
if 17, if they were 20, then I would say if they wanted to be there, they wanted to be there.
I'm asking for the 17-year-olds, if they could have asked to leave and they could have left at any time,
Mm-hmm.
do you think then he was just fucking 17-year-olds, but he wasn't trafficking?
No, because they're underage.
Oh my god. That's the problem. These guys I legitimately think they don't know what trafficking means. Okay? It's to transport someone under false pretenses across either state lines or countries. Okay? especially to do things that they didn't originally want or sign up to do. Those being sexual in nature sometimes, okay? It doesn't even have to be sexual. Other people can be trafficked for slavery, okay? Go to Libya right now. There are a bunch of slaves being trafficked over there, and it's just a horrible situation. Migrants can get trafficked. We see that situation with the war in Ukraine. We also see that situation with the war in our borders, okay? Trafficking means the transfers people, okay, under manipulative, abusive pretense, okay? So for you to equate that to someone being underage, it's two completely different things, okay? What the point Destiny's trying to make is not that if the girls were underage or overage and if they had the ability to leave or not, okay? The problem is, did Tate get the girl from point A to point B under false pretense? If that is true, that girl was trafficked. Simple as that. The same thing with Epstein, okay? I think there was a 17-year-old that came out. Her name was Virginia Roberts. Well, that was the girl that, I think her name, was it Virginia Roberts? She's the one that came out that did the, I think it was the Prince Andrew, his name, Prince Andrew. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think it was Prince Andrew, but she was the one that had the photo with him, right? That was rock solid evidence, and at that time, she said she was 17, okay? Even though that's a pedophile, I don't know, pedophilia is not the word, because pedophilia is under a certain age, right? What is the age where you're going after underage people, but they're not necessarily kids? It's a different type of file, right? Because you got pedos, but they're, I don't know. Let's they're all pedophiles anyway. I mean, whatever. We don't have to get too scientific, but like, that's different. Virginia Roberts was trafficked from her home to a whole different country or a whole different island by Epstein to be used and abused. That's what happened, okay? She was trafficked. That's the same thing with Tate's situation. Tate, listen, bruh, you know why he got the reason why he left the UK, he's a UK citizen. The reason why he left the UK, because the UK caught on to his bullshit. You understand that, right? There's a reason why he left the UK to go to Romania. And he talks about that in the podcast. Because when he was first running this whole webcam business thing, he got hemmed up for those trafficking bullshit, right? And what ended up happening is he beat the case and then booked it to Romania. And he's been talking about how great Romania is because they let him run his business and he doesn't have to, deal with the whole taxes and deal with the whole weird laws. And he can do whatever he wants because of corruption, right? How's that corruption working out, huh? How's that working out? So he literally moved to another country for the purpose of trafficking more women for his business. Like, I don't think these people who are arguing for Tate, I don't think they understand the difference between someone who's a pedo and someone who's a trafficker. Because you don't have to be a pedo to be a trafficker, okay? They're cartel coyotes, okay? Mr. Organics was a coyote. Remember we covered that story a while ago? Mr. Organics, El Coyote, the colorful bandit. That dude, he was talking about how he was a coyote, okay? He trafficked immigrants across the border, all right? He's a trafficker. Not a molester. It's a completely different narrative, okay? So the fact that y'all don't understand the difference it just says a lot to how y'all gather your information to tell these young men out here.
Underage doesn't make it trafficking. If you fuck a minor, it's not automatically trafficking. The trafficking is moving them to another place with like coercion or fraud or I think violence.
Were they coerced?
I don't know. Were they?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. So all of us here are.
I'm not an expert on Epstein's Island. I don't know.
Okay, cool. So all of you guys are.
You're asking me to have an opinion on something I'm telling you I don't know about.
Okay.
But wait, aren't we talking about Tate? You were the same girl on the podcast that had all this opinion about Tate and saying that he didn't do it. But that's what that's the argument he's trying to make. So what, Pearl, what the fuck?
I'm not big in the deep
That's cool.
state.
That's fine. So you guys are agnostic on whether Epstein trafficked minors. That's cool. I didn't know you guys would own that. That's cool.
They don't get it,
From what
bro.
I understand, they were underage. You can't do that with
don't
minors.
get it.
Yeah, but most people are mad at him about like the underage sex trafficking. That's like the really big deal. But you guys don't know if he sex trafficked. You just know they were underage.
I mean, he was found guilty of it, wasn't he?
Oh, so if Andrew Tate is found guilty of these sex trafficking charges, you'll say he was guilty of that, even if the girls could theoretically leave?
If evidence came out that actually happened, sure.
If there's hard evidence.
Yeah, if there's hard
I think it's going to be a
evidence.
bunch of he said, she said, these anonymous sources that are coming right now in Vice News, these weird radio recordings, not anything physical, nothing that's actually reliable. I don't think that's going to come out.
What kind of evidence? So do you need like a video recording of?
I want an actual witness who's going to get on camera and say this stuff. Like now, like that the woman who went on Tim Pool, she just started like, oh, I found an anonymous source because I'm a champion of survivors, and it's just like these non-people. Vice News, they get somebody who, like Tatus talked about beforehand, was like probably jealous. She doesn't want to put her face on the camera. She's coming out 8 years later when it's relevant right now. None of this is convincing at all.
Sure. Was there any hard evidence? Were there videos of children getting fucked on Epstein's island?
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't reveal it.
I wouldn't know. I'm not an I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on Epstein's island.
Okay. Bitch, just do the research. Like, how hard is Google? You over here spreading all this conspiracy bullshit, and you don't know anything about anything. Like, even your grandma probably knows something. Like, did you even know that Epstein may have been former CIA, may have been working with the CIA? All right, because there were a couple times he was busted for the trafficking bullshit, and he was told by higher ups that they got to let him go because he's with somebody, all right? Even how Epstein got his immense wealth from a former, was it a Victoria's Secrets model owner, right? He died or somehow gave his mansion over to this relatively unknown guy, right? First of all, like, with Epstein alone, there's so much conspiracy going down that road. I'm surprised you red pillars haven't even decided to even do the basic fundamental research on something like that, because that'll lead y'all to different rabbit holes. So I just find it interesting, right? You just don't know anything about anything. Something that was in the mainstream news for a very long time. You don't know nothing about it. Yo, bruh, come on, dog.
I'm just, I admire that both you guys are so agnostic on it. That's great. I'm happy for you guys.
There were actually people there. There were actual witness testimonies, and you could see people who have been on the island. There's many documentaries talking about it. People.
The reason why Andrew Tate's arrested right now, because they already have those people and they're working through that investigation. That's why they hemmed them up for so damn long. Okay, so you think Romania is just gonna lock him up for no reason? Is that what you guys are alluding to? Right? They just don't have any kind of proof whatsoever. Is that the bullshit narrative y'all running with? Right? They just like to lock up, black men overseas for no reason. That's what you're trying to say. Okay. All right. Like, I'm sure they don't have any evidence on Andrew Tate whatsoever. Okay? They have no proof whatsoever.
Get on camera and you're like, okay. But none of the victims of Andrew and Tristan, none of it looks realistic at all.
So
they present evidence, but it's not realistic to you. Okay. I was just making sure, because you weren't about to just say there wasn't no evidence, because you in chat, we know their evidence is out there. we know that. Okay, but these red pillars like to pretend, especially when it comes to Andrew Tate, their daddy. They like to pretend, all these women are lying. It's false accusations. They just want money. Oh, he's speaking the truth. The Matrix, all that bullshit. No. There's evidence out there that this dude's guilty. And the evidence is provided by Andrew Tate himself. All right? Black people snitching on themselves on social media is not a new thing. Okay? Evidence is bought and provided for by Andrew Tate. A lot of that stuff was from him. So for y'all to sit there and say, oh, it's light stuff, bruh, you're either being willfully ignorant, or you're actually, I don't even know what to call it. Chat, what would you call this shit that Sneeko and Pearl is doing right now? I mean, I want to say grifting, but like, at this point, I think they've gone beyond the grift. I really think they have gone beyond the grift. They're on a whole different level. Chat, what would you call this level of Sneeko and Pearl ignorance right now? Let me know in the chat.
If they start to reveal who they are, I imagine in Romania, hopefully you have a right to confront your accuser or whatever, right? So if the women make their names available to the Romanian prosecutors while they're doing that, and then that's revealed, then you believe it more?
If that happens, then that sounds more believable. Okay. Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, thanks for the 10. I agree with Destiny. Europe streets are becoming as dangerous as the shark-infested waters surrounding Little St. James. The girls were in an equally bad situation.
Also helped legitimize instruments of control.
It's a deep, systemic...
Several women came and said that they were offered money to lie about being trafficked, raped, and abused by Tate. Yeah, they were offered bribes, of course.
Wow, that's crazy.
Can you also admit that there's clearly an agenda that doesn't want it to speak up, and there's clearly people that want it to be arrested? Like,
Yeah, the
even
agenda
regardless of the trafficking situation, they want him in jail because of what he talks about and not just because of this trafficking.
Yeah, like Romania probably doesn't like the fact that he's like openly shitting in their country saying he's sex trafficking in the country. I imagine that prosecutor that has a history of going after high profile sex traffickers probably has an agenda that he wants to bust maybe sex trafficking. Yeah, I would imagine.
You think it's because of that he's talking about a corruption in the country which everybody knows about, or it's because it's something bigger than that, has nothing to do with Romania?
I don't think.
What, Sneeko? What? What could be bigger than the corruption? My boy literally fled the UK because they hemmed him up for the webcam business. Hey, listen, guess what? Hey, who knew that pimping women online and skipping out on your taxes isn't so great? And most first world governments won't tolerate that, especially first world governments like the UK. He got kicked out of that shit, okay? He fled to Romania and he did even well in Romania and was even more successful, okay? So with that success, he bragged about how great Romania is because the corruption, follow me, Sneeko, the level of corruption enabled him to grow his business exponentially. That's why his business was headquartered there. He had 7 houses, okay? My boy had 7 houses. All doing the same thing. He had an operation, my guy. Okay, this wasn't a business. Even when he came out and admitted that he wasn't doing that shit no more, right? When he remember, y'all remember when he was on the podcast with the Nelk Boys, right? And he was telling that horrendous story, and I played it right here for you guys. That disgusting story about how he was cheating these dudes out of their inheritance, right? And he didn't give a fuck about them. Y'all remember that podcast I played when he was on there? Yeah. In that same podcast, y'all notice he said, "Yeah, I'm not really doing that stuff anymore," right? But that was cap. You know why that was cap? Because around that time when he was doing that podcast, he was still doing the webcam business. So why would someone like Andrew Tate, who wasn't afraid to admit that he's making money off of pimping women online, why would he then go back on his, business, go back on his word, say he's out of the game now on a podcast publicly, and then months later or weeks later, his house gets raided, and this time it's for good. You want to draw the comparison here? Because to me, what it sounds like is a man who knew he was in deep, deep doo-doo, especially after the first couple raids he had, okay? He knew that he was in deep doo-doo, all right? Came out, making public statements to distance himself from his business while still making money off of said business. And then after he gets busted, right, this one was for good because he got arrested. Something actually came out of it, right? So I don't know if y'all are doing any kind of thinking whatsoever, but for me, it seemed like he knew this was coming. And he knew they probably had something. So the fact that y'all are willfully being ignorant, and some of y'all called that in the chat, it's willful ignorance. I don't know what else to call it. It's willful ignorance, okay? Delusional, Alicia, thank you. Y'all, bruh, I can't. Like the delusion is too much.
No offense. How many times you've been to Romania? One time? Do you know any Eastern Europeans, or did you go straight from the airport to Tate's $1 million fucking mansion? Because if you've ever talked to an Eastern European,
you see how you avoid the question that I'm talking about? It's well known that Romania is a corrupt country.
You can do all of your little fucking World Economic Forum rants, and I can't fucking finish my one fucking point, right?
Well,
people in Romania don't give a fuck about Andrew Tate as being super masculine on TikTok. Okay, the prosecutor that doesn't care that he's giving strong messages to young boys, they're probably fucking pissed off that this dude is lighting their whole country up to the world, saying, "Yo, come here and you can sex traffic women and totally get away with it." If I had to guess, it's probably the bone they would have to pick with him, not because he's giving strong advice to young men on TikTok.
Okay, it goes a lot deeper than he's speaking out against the globalist agenda. He's spoken about COVID, and you see right before he started talking about climate change, something that you're adamantly defending. There's a lot more to what he's talking about. They're aware that he knows what's really going on with all the people that you trust. That's the reason that they're targeting him, because he's speaking up against everything that is controlling us and that's meant to control us in 2030 when they want us to own nothing and be happy about it. Everything he talks about goes against that narrative.
Gotcha. That's why they're going after him in Romania. They don't like him talking about the vaccine.
You're stuck to the Bugatti.
This Tate Cope is so real, bro. This Tate Cope is real, bro.
TikTok stuff like that. You don't really listen to.
I'm just like a fact-based guy. I like to see evidence.
Oh my God.
That's just me. I know that you guys like your stories.
And then we watch a documentary, a research documentary.
It's not a research documentary. All we've gotten is a collection of anecdotes from people that look at dead bodies. They're not even doctors. They don't even do medical analyses.
There's doctors in this video.
So I'm curious, what makes someone qualify in your eyes?
Usually they've got some relevant education or training in an area of expertise that's relevant to the claims that they're making.
Okay, so if you're a professional embalmer, that's not relevant at all? If you see inconsistencies?
I don't think embalmers deal
What's
with
an embalmer? I don't know.
an embalmer.
What? Did she just ask what is an embalmer? Am I dealing with a fucking toddler? How do you not know what an embalmer is? Like, death is such a natural part of life that, like, we created industries around it, okay? So there are people since the ancient times who have been doing this practice to, help the body kind of look good, right? They have these formaldehyde they put in the body, and it makes you look presentable, so you can have a nice open casket. Let's put it that way, right? How is this woman? Like, you can't sit there and tell me you don't know what an embalmer is. What is this? Like, what am I listening to?
It's like the guy, when you got like a dead person, they swap out all the blood and they fill it with other shit, and they do that to like parts of the body so that it's not like rotting when they're in the funeral home, basically. That's like the process of embalming a body.
Okay, we still got a lot more in this documentary.
And so you think they're wrong? Why are they not?
I don't think an embalmer is in a qualified. So I know you're gonna
No, because like, wouldn't they know a lot about? I don't even know.
I think embalmers probably only see dead bodies. I don't think they're in a position where they can make accurate assessments of a person's health or conditions based on the status of a dead body. I don't think that's like in their area of expertise.
Bro, you need a forensic pathologist, right? Because those are the people who, if you died, they investigate what happened, or at least try to figure out how you died. Okay, what was the cause? Okay, and then they pass it off to the morgue as soon as they figured it out. So, embalmer, okay, or a mortician, they have nothing to do with figuring out how you died, right? Their job is to talk to whoever is taking care of your funeral to make sure that your body is going to be well taken care of, all right? And if you talk to the mortician, he's going to want to sell you a nice, casket, okay? The forensic pathologist, okay, is the one that talks to the cops or talks to the people at the morgue, and they let them know how you died, okay? That's just what happens. They're two completely different careers, right? And Pearl, Sneeko, you see what happens when you don't do any research? And realistically, I might be 100% wrong. Realistically, I'm not saying I know the whole truth, all right? But I can tell you that an embalmer doesn't look into those things. I can tell you that people who go to school to do stuff with forensics, right, to kind of investigate your body and figure out what's going on, they might actually have a clue when it comes to research on, deaths due to the bug or COVID or whatever it is, than someone who's there to embalm you or stuff you up with formaldehyde. You see what I'm saying? So I just think they're two completely different things. But these guys, they're just using wrong terms and wrong professions to justify their argument. Make it make sense.
I really don't have a strong, and you might not believe me, I don't have a strong opinion on deep state stuff.
Okay.
But why is it improbable that would happen?
Well, it's improbable.
Or why don't you think?
Even if they tell you.
So it's improbable because what you are alleging, not you, I'm sorry, in the general sense, what's being alleged is the widest, most insane conspiracy to have ever been concocted in all of human history. That doesn't make it impossible, just makes it really improbable. But for highly improbable events, we need highly relevant and crazy evidence, right? If you're going to make an extraordinary claim, you need extraordinary evidence for it, or at least some evidence. But there's no evidence of these. It's always
well, okay, see, this is where I think Destiny is wrong, because Destiny, okay, so we got to be balanced here, okay? Destiny, you're completely forgetting the lab leak theory that, or not even theory, it's a thing that everyone's confirming now. Like, this thing may have been leaked from a lab. So there's that whole thing that's popping out there right now, and people are having they're having serious conversations about it. China's saying they didn't do it on purpose. And America's saying, in the West, they're saying, hey, China, you did this and whatnot, right? So again, there are all sorts of taglines that are moving towards when it comes to this, illness nonsense. But we either way, we can't. It's definitely not the conspiracy Sneeko's making it out to be, but it's also not a nothing burger either, right? This thing with Fauci, right? The bribes that he took, right, with the gain of function research. That's a big thing that we need to look into. So for him to just sit there and say, hey, nah, there's no evidence, bruh, Fauci, the evidence are coming out that he might have been funding some things that he shouldn't have been funding. At least the U.S. on the surface didn't want to be looked at as backing that project. So could that be why they moved it over to China? I don't know. but we can tell you that this wasn't the first time they've practiced that. So I think to just completely ignore that is kind of not fair. But also realistically, I don't even think Sneeko and them are even at that level to comprehend that kind of argument, because none of them have brought up the lab leak. None of them have brought up Fauci or gain of function. It's just control, conspiracy, government. It's just dumb.
5-second clips of like, you said you want to own nothing and you'll still be happy.
The World Economic Forum Twitter saying, like, and Destiny completely overlooked this. Like, I need the context. This is clearly a statement that they want you. This is a philosophy of what the World Economic Forum is about.
Okay, so
welcome
now,
to 2030. I own nothing. I have no privacy, and life has never been better. They are trying to make it seem like you having nothing, you having zero control is a good thing because we, the World Economic Forum, will take care of you. This is their agenda. And when I show this, Destiny's like, I need the context. What more context do you need?
Okay.
So
how did I was just going to ask.
The context was this original statement about people will own nothing and be happy was, I think it came in 2016 when a writer in the WEF was trying to make a prediction on how people would feel in the future. And it seems like this is the case, that people don't care about things like privacy. If you would go back, now I know that you guys are young, but when I was a kid, we didn't have any information about us online. That was really fucking weird. The idea of posting shit about yourself, like when you did that shit on MySpace and LiveJournal and Zanga, people kind of made fun of you for that. You were a loser. But today, it's expected. People post all sorts of shit online. That's why if you post on Reddit, people can dox your entire fucking existence because of random shit you've leaked. So it seems like people don't care that much about privacy.
Bro, look at their faces. Look at their faces, bro. Like, it's like when you hit them with common sense, they got nothing. Look at Sneeko's face. Huh? He looked like that dude that just walked out of the principal's office after he got caught. There's nothing, bro. Like, come on, dog. Listen, if you got an app on your phone right now, you are contributing to the loss of privacy problem. You understand that, right? If you ever signed up for anything, a newsletter online, or anything that had to do with your email address, phone number, or name, you gave up a certain level of privacy. Matter of fact, to even get a job, okay, you give up a certain level of privacy. To walk into a business, you give up a certain level of privacy, right? Because they have security cameras in the business, but the business didn't ask you for your permission to record you, right? They didn't ask you to record you, following you around the store. You didn't sign off for any release forms, but yet businesses just feel authorized to film you without your permission, right? So realistically, welcome to the new world, bruh. If you got a cell phone, forget your fucking rights. It's over. Like, y'all are thinking about this weird Bilderberg conspiracy that some magical thing is going to come down and, they're going to force everyone into labor camps and whatnot. Nigga, we already did that to ourselves. The labor camps, echo chambers on YouTube and social media sites. The trackers are cell phones, motherfucker. Like, it takes us everywhere. We can go. Listen, how do you think most of these criminals get caught? All right? How do you think your daddy Tate got caught? His cell phone. Like, what? How do you think they're going to track you, find you, figure out where you're going to go, all right? Your cell phone, GPS tracker. It's not a magical pill that they're hiding in the little COVID vaccines, okay, to track you like Bill Gates wants you to do. No, we chipped ourselves by buying a phone, okay? And you know what's crazy? We upgrade to the new model every single year, okay? So, bruh, listen. If you choose convenience, okay, which majority of Americans have chosen as their way of life nowadays, okay, forget privacy. Like, look at their faces when you introduce the real world. How, hey, the reason why you are losing your rights, or it seems like that, is because you're voting for it. So if you want to know the real problem is, look in the fucking mirror. And if you look at Sneeko's face right now, this is exactly what he's looking at. A bullshit argument, bruh. Like, grow up. Like, their arguments are so childish, bruh. We've given up our privacy. To even have a StreamYard account, I had to give up a certain level of privacy. You understand that, right? So, like, y'all are just dumb. You being on Rumble, you give up privacy. These guys are crazy.
So in some ways, that prediction was true, but not because it was
okay
world government. Not because it was world government concocting it, but just because that's like where the preferences of people are from.
Your view basically is all this stuff was the World Economic Forum predicting things. Like,
yeah, people are trying to make.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I think that the purpose of like the WF is people are trying to predict where our global markets and thought headed, so that we can be prepared to like handle it essentially.
Okay, and your view is that they're doing that to control people, like they're marketing it to control people, basically, Sneeko. right?
You said what?
I said your view is that they're marketing it to like control.
Yeah, they're trying to normalize it. It's propaganda. It's just makes okay. Yeah, I have no privacy. I own nothing. That's good because Klaus Schwab is going to take care of me.
So you see
good.
it as propaganda.
Yes, it's clear propaganda, and this is propaganda right in front of your face. When they put a gay pride song with the vaccine, that shit is fucking woke propaganda. Exactly.
So yeah, what's your response to that? It's not woke propaganda.
He's like, it's just cringe.
There are two ways that people see the world, okay? One is like an autistic person, okay? Like me. When I argue about anything, I just want to see like a fucking study or data. Or data. That's what I like to see. Give me a study, show me a thing. That's what I like to see. But generally the way that people like to see the world is through cohesive stories or narratives. So whenever progressives are trying to sell you some shit, if they think it would be better for you to avoid like a microaggression, they're going to wrap it in some fucking LGBT, triple rainbow, BIPOC bullshit messaging to make you feel like you are saving minorities while you do some other environmentally friendly bullshit, because they wrap all this shit together. But it's the other side of the coin of what red pillars do. When every time they talk about like, well, this is what dating standards need to be, and if you reject these dating standards, it's because you're controlled by the World Economic Forum. The difference is... Let me finish my fucking point, because I just gave you the whole charitable...
We know what your point is.
No, I gave you the whole charitable point on the left side, but every time I show you your side, you lose your fucking
Bro,
mind.
you've been talking 90...
Hey, yo, Destiny, bro. At some point, you gotta realize that these motherfuckers are playing a game. I feel like they're trying to trigger him on purpose, bro. Because there's certain points where Destiny do be getting, like, triggered. And I get it, because they don't let him talk at all. Like, they don't. And a lot of times when he's talking, it's like they don't understand where he's coming from. So it's, like, frustrating, because him talking is like talking to brick walls. But then, like... all these brick walls have this whole opinion about everything, but know nothing. You see what I'm saying? So it's frustrating, but I think they're doing this on purpose to trigger him, because then they can turn around and say, "Hey, look at this blue-haired purple dude who's a lib. All right, look at him getting triggered because I'm talking about the real truth about the Matrix, right?" And he can sell this to his audience and say, "Hey, this is just how liberals are. Okay, liberals are just so soft that they get triggered." Now realizing that conservatives are already part of the same boat. Listen, I live in Wisconsin. Okay, if I go up north, because down south, southern Wisconsin, we're a little bit, it's friendlier to folks like me. Okay, but you go up north, you don't see a lot of guys that look like me up there. Okay, and you see a lot of very, very staunch Trump supporters. Okay. If I go into any one of those neighborhoods and say Biden 2024, all right, I might get shot. I'm just letting y'all know right now. I might get shot. All right, they might mistake me for something. I don't know. But if I go around them neighborhoods screaming Biden 2024, it's the rap, bro. Okay, so I'm just letting you know right now. Libs, conservatives, they're both triggered babies. Okay, matter of fact, if you even buy into the notion that we're a two-party country, you're an idiot. Realistically, we're not a two-party state. We're a one-party state disguised as a two-party state. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and look at the policy issues that align with the people that both Democrats and Republicans were able to come together, okay? Then look at the policies that align with corporations and big business and see when the Democrats and Republicans came together. If you look at those statistics, you'll find it more often than not that whenever these guys are coming together on certain issues, right, it doesn't benefit us. And by us, I mean you, okay? It doesn't benefit anybody, right? Because those guys don't give a shit about you. They give a shit about the people who pay them, okay? So if we want to get on that same boat, you all need to be using that super chat money you claim to be saving the world with and start bribing these fools too. Just saying.
90% of the time,
okay, then you can talk out. I shut the fuck up and I let you talk. Don't get mad at me just because I'm blowing up your side, okay? The left does that, I admit it, and it's fucking cringe, but the right does it too, where they tie in like Charles Schwab or Klaus Schwab or the World Economic Forum or ESG scores or all these other corporations to every single fucking talking point.
The difference, hold up, the difference is the red pillar thing, these are independent people like us that have a platform on Rumble, we get canceled. The World Economic Forum is using your thing. It's not even right and left anymore. It's just people who make sense and then brainwash woke people who use gay pride to push the vaccine. Wow. Red pillars are not backed by the establishment. It's not backed by the World Economic Forum. The woke agenda is part of their propaganda. There's no, they don't put this on TV. Right. There's no anti-vaccine commercial. You know what happens when I talk about that? You get a medical misinformation strike if I push back on your fucking brainwashing. You can't say, you can't even have that opinion on YouTube. If you say that on Instagram or Twitter, you'll get shadow banned. They'll put a COVID warning. You are supposed to believe this. Don't make it right and left. There's an agenda and then there's the truth.
So what is he saying that's wrong then?
Sure.
If
so
you agree
he's making
propaganda.
Yeah, he's making a fallacious leap, meaning it doesn't follow logically. Just because there's propaganda about something doesn't mean that the underlying thing is incorrect. Like, people can spread propaganda about all types of stuff. It might be right or it might be wrong, but you have to do like further analysis. Like, if we go to like, I don't want to trigger you, but like, if we go to like World War II, we probably had a lot of propaganda about how like Nazis were bad and stuff. Okay, but there was definitely propaganda about it. But that doesn't mean that it was false that like the Nazis were the bad guys, right? You can have propaganda about something, but there's still like some underlying truth to it. The best propaganda has something.
So would you agree that the propaganda, like the
That's
left,
what he thinks propaganda is good.
Would you agree that the left gets to do propaganda and the right doesn't?
The right can't.
Would you agree?
The right can't, because you get striked and you get. I'm on Rumble. If you are right leaning and you have any sort of this, then you get banned. But your thing is proudly shoved on the front of every single TV station. They'll do commercial about it. They'll do dances about it. Jimmy Kimmel will get on stage dressed as a needle. This is what they want on every single TV. On the radio, they'll do ads saying, "Get the vaccine today." They'll even in New York, they'll give you $100 if you get the vaccine. Biden's saying, "Get the vaccine." The government's saying, "Get the vaccine." They put it on the White House website. There is no other opinion. You know what happens? They delete you if you speak against this. It's not right and left. It's yours and then the banned people.
Okay, so different people can do their propaganda on like their respective platforms. So like
your respective platforms are the White House website, the president, the radio, TV, YouTube, big tech, everything. Ours is Rumble and Cozy.tv.
What the fuck are you talking about, Sneeko? Are you arguing for like both sides to do propaganda? Because propaganda isn't good on either side. What the hey, is it me or did I not just hear what I heard? Are these guys trying to argue for the sake of, hey, all right, the real conspiracy is the left get to do their propaganda and we don't get to do our propaganda? That's a problem. Hey, my dude. Hey, propaganda is bad on both sides, okay? We want objective journalism. That's what's missing in all of media right now. There's no objective journalism. At least you find it in some independent medias out there, but you really, really, really have to look for that. We want objective journalism, Sneeko. We don't want to be spoon-fed propaganda. All right, buddy? Propaganda isn't good. It leads to cult-like groupthink, and we don't like that, okay? We want objective facts so we can make rational decisions, okay? Because propaganda, it means that we make decisions based off of emotions. You understand that, right? Because there's no rationality in propaganda. It's to get you to rally you around the cause emotionally. That's what they're doing. They're trying to propagandize you, okay? And for you to say we have Rumble and we have Kick, right? But they get all these other platforms. Listen, bro, Rumble and Kick. Do you know what they're doing? You realize they're just using you, right? They're using you and all these other fools that are hopping on these platforms. Because you know what Rumble's gonna do? When they get big enough and these advertisers start flowing in with the big cash flow, they're going to start listening to them. And pretty soon, Rumble's going to get so big that some of their policies are going to start resembling a lot like YouTube. Kick, maybe they're going to get so big that at some point, you know, their policies might be resembling Twitch, right? Because it's not that there's a conspiracy, it's just that they need money. And you guys are the ones that are willing to bring your audience over to their platform to grow their platform. So once they've grown and they're done with you and they don't feel as though they don't longer need your growth because there's already enough traffic and advertiser money flowing through Kick and Rumble, what do you think is going to happen when all of a sudden the shit that y'all used to say is no longer tolerated because advertisers doesn't deem that family friendly? How about that? Then Kick just becomes another YouTube. Are you guys so dumb you don't realize how this cycle works? It's not a fucking conspiracy, jackass. It's about money at the end of the day, okay? Because if you don't believe me, YouTube used to be Rumble back in the day. Y'all don't remember old YouTube, or am I the only one that's old enough to remember? Like what's up? Am I the only one to... Twitch was the same thing. So if you don't think that this is going to end up the same way, I don't think you're legitimately not paying attention. Sneeko, when these platforms get big enough, they're going to drop you. The moment they feel as though they don't need you, they'll drop you. And that's what these losers don't understand about how capitalism works. They see the same cycle repeated all over again and think it's not going to happen to them. But instead of calling out the truth of what it is, advertiser and corporate greed, right? We're just blaming feminism and blaming the conspiracy. Y'all look crazy. Y'all are just weird.
How are you making that right and left?
My question is back to
What?
Like, so.
Well, I can answer. I'm just waiting for him to let me answer.
Would you agree, yes or no,
No.
that the left or the right is more censored? So you'd say no.
No, I'm going to say that each side has their respective platforms. So the right...
Would you agree that the left has more platforms?
It's hard to quantify more. The right has things like talk radio, which reaches tens of millions of people in the United States. And they've got things like Fox News, right? Which I think is the most popular cable news network in the United States. Like by far now. It might have the same combined viewership as MSNBC. But I think the left has like control over like the big tech companies.
Would you say it's 50-50? Is that how you feel?
It's hard. The problem is that
I just need just a feeling. It doesn't have to be like you could just do a rough guess. I'm not gonna cross-examine you.
No, it's hard because like it might be 50-50, but like
not.
for instance,
It's not. There's a reason I'm on Rumble and you're on YouTube. That's
you're on Rumble because you're 22 years old, right?
But 24.
I just want.
Nah, isn't he on Rumble because he said some stupid shit on YouTube and got himself banned? He got labeled as a fucking domestic terrorist, bro. Like Congress labeled you a domestic terrorist. Yeah, like you got problems. It wasn't just because of free speech. Okay, Aiden Ross, he was showing porn to his 11-year-old audience. He got banned. Andrew Tate was saying wild shit on Twitter like depression isn't real. Meanwhile, there's scientists and studies out there proving there is a such thing as depression, and every human being goes through it. Okay, so for him to come out there and spew that message that isn't real, it's misinformation. Okay, so they have these platforms have a right to ban you. So the fact that, bruh, these guys are legitimately stupid, y'all. Like these guys are actually stupid, bro.
A rough guess. I just want to.
You can say 50-50, but that doesn't mean anything. The demographics are going to skew wildly based on the platform.
You can't answer a simple question. You get mad.
I just said yes.
It's 50-50?
But I'm saying it's not. Yeah, sure.
It's equal.
Sure, but that's like putting me and Bill Gates. No, let me finish. That's like putting me and Bill Gates in a room and saying, "Oh, our average net worth is like $50 billion each." That doesn't mean anything.
Bro, this is just
it doesn't mean anything.
Lie,
No, what do you mean it's a lie?
There's not 50-50
Google it.
place.
Do you think that Fox News is the most popular cable news TV in the United States?
Okay, regular people don't have access to Fox News. When you talk about independent journalists,
what? What? Oh, regular people? What? Regular people don't have access to Fox News? Are you dumb? You go to Planet Fitness right now. There's Fox News playing right now. There's some old chick on a treadmill watching and listening to her favorite Tucker Carlson show. I'm sorry, Fox News is widely available. Where Sneeko has a point on is that left-wing media is not as massive as right-wing media. But do you know why? Why is because a lot of platforms like applications on your phone and the web applications are built by Silicon Valley and a lot of the companies that are concentrated within there, right? And a lot of those people who work for those companies in Silicon Valley, like the biggest one of all, Google, all right, they're left-leaning. They're all left-leaning. So don't you think that some of their ideology is going to rub into that platform? If you really want more conservative platforms, why don't we just make a push for more conservatives to go into tech, right? Instead of pushing for manly, traditional, blue-collar jobs, let's get more conservative dudes in tech so they can start building these applications like Rumble and Kick, like you guys like to talk about. That's ultimately why it feels as though these leftists have a bigger voice and a microphone than a lot of people on the right. It's because while conservatives are sitting there being conservative, okay, a lot of liberal people are doing liberal things, and that involves getting themselves in technology. You go into tech right now, it's mostly liberal people. That's just what it is. A lot of them are liberal. A lot of them are purple hair. I work in tech right now, bro. Like the stereotype is real. It's out there. There's a reason why it exists because a lot of those guys gravitate to it. So it is what it is. But you can't say that that's because, no, you got to look at the root cause of a lot of this stuff and why this situation is happening. It's not a conspiracy issue. It's a demographic issue.
Look,
what do you mean regular people?
Information is bigger than Fox News unless you're a fucking boomer. When it comes to people like us...
Thank you. That's my point. That's why I said it doesn't, even though it's 50-50, it doesn't skew the same across all demographics. Young people don't watch Fox News. I agree with you. The average age of a Fox News viewer is like 78 years old.
So it's not 50-50.
There's a lot more old people in the United States than young people. That's why I'm saying the 50-50 question is...
Who the fuck is the voting population? The older guys. Yo, Sneeko, you are not educated about the country you claim there's a conspiracy about. You're not well versed on how this government works, dog.
Weird.
Have you ever read Thomas Sowell at all?
Oh God, no! Why him? What about him?
Fucking Pearl.
He's some of the stuff he says is okay, some of the stuff is dumb. But what about it? People always bring up for racial stuff.
I wasn't even talking about race.
Sure, but what did you want to say? Go ahead. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's not like everything he says is wrong.
I just used to read him for a lot of his like economic policy. So
Gotcha.
it's just that.
Bro,
What did that have to do with anything, Pearl? Why bring Thomas so fucking yo, dude? I feel like she just says things to say things, bro.
like, Destiny, can you make a comment about these people? Dudes who get on TV and say, stick it in me, look just like this. Look just like my Swordboy compilation, who, also think that Tate is a sex trafficker. Also, all these people have made hippies videos about me. What is the equivalent?
Hey, that one on the top, the one on the top left, that looks like Jesus. Yeah, that boy gave you a run for your money, Sneeko. Matter of fact, that boy may have been responsible for single-handedly destroying your career. So, say what you want about these collage you made of people that hate on you, but one of them took you down, bro, pretty bad.
Are they all like, oh, facts and CNN, blah, blah, blah? Or is there a different reason why they all believe in what they're told?
Maybe they all just don't like sex traffickers or people that defend them. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's the unifying thing.
The fact that you can't acknowledge that there's a clear equivalent between these people and what they believe. Like, you can look at them and like, yeah, you, of course, like everyone here, I don't know their vaccine.
They all have similar political ideologies. What do you want to say? Go bring up, like, what does a Fox News anchor look like? There's like 52 copy-pasted blonde women that all look identical. Like, you can do this for any fucking side,
But
bro.
they're hot, though.
Or go look at, like, the Trump
But
guys
they're
on...
attractive.
Look at the Trump guys on Twitter. Look at the excuse now. How many of them have a fucking hat and, like, the same fucking aviator sunglasses and the, like, 5 o'clock shadow in their trucks? Like,
They're living
you can
free.
find
They're
stereotypes
self-governing.
with any group of people.
They're
like,
living free. They're fun to talk to.
Okay, would you agree that conservatives are hotter than liberals?
No.
What? What kind of brain dead statement was that? what did she say? Did she just say just admit that conservatives are hotter than liberals? What? Hold up. What did she just say?
Excuse me. How many of them have a fucking hat and like the same fucking aviator sunglasses and the like 5 o'clock shadow in their trucks? Like,
they're living
you can
free.
find
They're
stereotypes with
self-governing.
any group of people.
They're
Like,
living free. They're fun to talk to.
Okay, would you agree that conservatives are hotter than liberals?
No, I think it's...
Come on!
What? Fuck, bro. Let me see the rest of this before I make any judgment. I can't believe that just came out of her mouth, dog.
Tommy Lauren, come on.
You guys don't even
Tommy
know
Lauren?
real conservatives. You guys know conservative fucking hipsters in cities. I lived in Omaha, Nebraska. The average conservative in these places weighs 250 fucking pounds.
Okay, well, public figures we're
Jesus
talking about.
Christ.
Public
Bro, shut up, Nico. Now you want to talk about public. Hey, your average conservative is just a overweight dude, all right, that lives out in the boonies somewhere, okay? That's your and they're not as well groomed or well kept, okay? That's just what it is, okay? So I don't think these guys have ever met a conservative in their life. And realistically, for you to even say that conservative people are hotter than liberal people, that's weird because your buddy Fresh and Fits, Nico, they tend to have a lot of liberal women on their show. And a lot of y'all simp for them. So are those women ugly? Because they're definitely not conservative women. Like, you guys are so dumb. Like, what led you to make a statement like that if you weren't thinking? Like, this is what I mean. Like, none of this makes sense. Matter of fact, let's go to Fresh and Fist channel right now. Let's go to Fresh and Fist channel, just for the hell of it, right? We're going to go to their channel. Let me share the freaking screen over here. All right, and y'all let me know if these women. Oh, Waka Flocka was on. Oh, we gotta see what's going on here. Waka Flocka was on. The sound, y'all won't be able to hear the sound. I'm not doing this for the sound, but look at these. Hold up, look at these women right over here, huh? I see a sea of hot liberal women that y'all are trying to beat these conservative ideologies into. So for Pearl, all right, to come out here and make a statement that liberal women are uglier than conservative women, meanwhile all your buddies do is bring on liberal women to talk about them, that's a bit of an issue with the statement that you're making. And it means that her statement, being Pearl, is not based in reality whatsoever. I just had to make that statement because that did not make sense whatsoever. Yo, Waka Flocka was on, bro. I can't believe they got him on. I gotta watch this later. I gotta see what's going on here.
Nebraska, no one gives a
Would
fuck
you
about
agree
your
that we
state.
have hotter news anchors?
He walked out of the podcast? What? No. Yo, chat. That might be tomorrow's episode. Hey, we might. That might be tomorrow's episode, bruh. Hey, I gotta watch this. But if he did walk out, that might be tomorrow's episode, bruh. Because I gotta see why. I have to see why, bro. I gotta see why he walked out. Come on, dog. Yo.
I like some alt girls with some fucking crazy piercings and some dyed hair.
These are your news anchors. Look at them.
True, that's them.
Look at them.
Can I just add something? Whales. Whales. I miss it.
It's funny because it just looks like them in 20 years. That's him.
True.
You're not gonna lie. This looks a lot like you.
It absolutely is. That's like my dad. It could be my dad. I'm not sure. I have to call him and find out if he's in this video. Okay?
And why stick it in me? That's not a bro. Okay.
Bumbucker.
Okay.
And because you are in a war, because this is a fifth generation warfare for your hearts and your minds, it's done mostly by digits, right, through the computer and those kind of things. But it's also done with adjunct weaponry. And this adjunct weaponry in this case is a COVID jab.
They don't want you to know that your body is now their property and playground. And they will do with you what they feel like doing to you. And they will destroy your life if you don't take a lethal needle in your arm.
I've seen this documentary, and it's fear-mongering. I've seen this documentary. They do all they do is fear-mongering. My brother showed me this because he was like super into like this whole conspiracy thing too as well. And I'm not saying that. Listen, they did run this down. Yes, they did run this vaccine thing down our throats. Okay, and yes, Bill Gates was a little bit sus. Okay, with the little what was that thing called where he was running simulations? Event is it an event 201 or 206? I don't know what event it was, right? But listen, Brett. I'm not denying that there wasn't anything fishy with that whole situation. It was wrong the way they put everything out there. It was wrong how they forced a lot of people to do in one decision. But if you really look at it from a different perspective, meaning the adult perspective, what I see is a bunch of grown adults, meaning people in the government, not really knowing what this was at the time the virus came out, right? No one knew what the hell was going on, okay? But it's most important to stay on top of it. You understand that, right? Because Sneako's right. The one thing the government cares more than anything else is power, okay? But what is the one thing that can easily take away power from a government? Can anyone tell me that in the chat? I'll give you a second. Anarchy. That's what happens. So if there's news of this bug, this virus that's spreading fast and wide, and it's putting a bunch of people on ventilators in hospitals, right? And it's killing 400, 500 people in a day that some of these outlets were proclaiming, right? How do you think people are going to behave? Do you think majority of society are going to be like, yeah, people are dying, it's a cold, but we'll be fine? Especially when it was so new, no one knew what was going on, right? No. People were freaking out. And if the government didn't do what the government had to do to get a handle on it, full-blown anarchy could potentially break out, especially when we're at a time period where a lot of people are polarized as fuck right now, all right? You won't be surprised what will pull out, right? So I would agree that at the start, a lot of people didn't know what the fuck was going on with this illness or virus, so they were putting laws into place to try to protect things from happening, but didn't really do a whole lot, like the mask mandates, right? They make you wear a mask, make you not wear a mask because a lot of people didn't know. But the most important thing is they gave the illusion of order. Because if we don't have at least the illusion of order, there's nothing but fucking chaos. It's like y'all didn't watch the Joker movie or something. Y'all know what happens when you introduce a little bit of chaos, right? Just full on anarchy. That's what the Joker was trying to tell y'all, all right? Y'all some of y'all movie conspiracies out there, okay? So I'm just saying, the whole COVID thing, when governments were making rules and the rules being inconsistent, is just different factions trying to get it right and none of them really understanding what was going on. And the world being polarized as it is, it didn't help situations either because you have people immediately retreating into their camps, all right? And on top of that, you got politicians who are opportunists that want to be able to take advantage of the situation to either get more money or more power for themselves, all right? More money in the form of the Pfizer, Moderna, or some of these other guys, the lobbyists that pay them to push the vaccine through without fully testing it, right? Because I think that's what happened. We had a vaccine that we pushed out in pretty much less than a year. It took us a year, but less than a year. It wasn't perfected. This is the quickest a vaccine has ever been produced. Of course, you're going to expect problems with it, even with the boosters and all that stuff. Of course. So, the fact that these guys are going into this freaking conspiracy angle that just goes deep into this weird this weird place that don't even make any sense once you go far into it. Come on, bruh. Come on. This is where we have to start thinking rationally, because if you get a bunch of people start believing this nonsense, this conspiracy stuff that the government's out to get them, you'll have some real idiots going out there in the real world. Like, real talk. Like, we got to get people to see the reality of things and just be based. Like, not all the things that happen is the government working as part of the conspiracy to try to kill you. A lot of the time, the government, they don't really even know what the fuck's going on. They're just being paid off by certain people.
And it's the new bullet, it's the new missile, it's the new form of warfare. You don't need to fire a bullet and win a war.
I want people to understand that we're in a fifth generation.
W20K.
Fifth generation is for the heart and the mind.
Another question, Destiny.
Yeah,
Do you think that the vaccine, like the people dropping dead, like any of them, it was from the vaccine?
Statistically speaking, I'm sure at least one.
Okay,
But
like,
in
would you-
mass,
would you-
no,
not in mass.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I was just wondering.
The United States government has been engaged in psychological operations on its own citizens for over 60 years. MK Ultra and Operation Mockingbird are just two of the declassified programs designed to manipulate the minds of Americans.
You know about MK Ultra?
About what?
MK Ultra, the CIA operation to use
How
mind
does
control.
Pro not know MK Ultra?
That's true. Like, it's not even a conspiracy theory. It used to be, but the CIA killed JFK, and they also have a mind
MK
control
Ultra
method.
is not about JFK.
It's not about JFK. I was bringing
Right,
up two
you
different
just said that all
points.
together. Just making
Wait,
sure
so
Okay.
is that so? That's true. Who killed
The
you?
CIA uses. Okay, well that's different. I just brought that up separately. But the CIA uses mind control.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
that's
CIA
different.
uses.
That's
I would-
on record.
I would imagine. Okay.
No, it wasn't them using mind control, bro. It was them experimenting with LSD, okay? Because they thought LSD was a form of mind control. They didn't realize that it woke a lot of motherfuckers up. And once they realized that people dropping acid would wake them up, they banned that shit, okay? Because they wanted to control you. They didn't want you to realize how the world really worked, okay? So that's MK Ultra in a nutshell, okay? It's just dropping a bunch of LSD into unsuspected people to try to get them, to do shit they wouldn't even otherwise do.
Right.
That
yeah.
seems like it'd be true.
Part of it is some of these vaccine ads. At least half of those are probably MK Ultra 2 spinoffs, I think.
In the world.
Like, if you watch it long enough, doesn't it make you want to get vaccinated?
The-
Like, I feel like I need another
It
booster.
worked for most of
I
the
feel like I
population.
need another booster right now. I'm getting a
Would
little
you-
anxious not having one.
Think about that. See, Destiny will get another booster, Pearl. Why is he not wearing a mask right now?
That's so crazy, dude.
And he
Why
won't.
would you
He's
take
gonna
some
he's gonna be
precautions,
ironic.
but not
Are
every
you
single precaution
fully
ever?
like boosted to
Yep.
the
Yep,
max?
every booster.
Well, no, because there's a fourth one now that I haven't gotten yet. But
He'll get another booster, but you're not wearing a mask. I don't get it. Like,
that's just crazy, dude. Sometimes I wear it my
You see
seatbelt.
how he's trying to,
Sometimes
like,
I wear my
humor his way, but that
seatbelt,
doesn't make
but I
sense.
also drive above the speed limit. Isn't that wild? Isn't that just crazy? Yeah, I don't know.
Would you agree that like a large percentage of the population felt really strongly about the vaccine and sort of discriminated against people that didn't want to get it?
It depends on what you mean by discrimination, but like, yeah, I mean, the people that didn't want to get it, I think, by and large, fall for the dumbest propaganda. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad
People
thing.
that didn't want to get it fall for the dumbest
Yeah, of
propaganda.
course.
and then you see fucking
No,
Jimmy
well,
Kimmel saying "stick it in me," and you're like,
even-
"Yeah, 4 shots."
Even with like the percentage of people that die was very low from it.
The percentage of people that died from what, COVID-19?
Yeah, like
The percentage
the
might have-
percentage of people that got it, like that actually died from it, was like because
The percentage was fairly low, but the problem was a lot of people got infected and a lot of people were hospitalized. Like, our hospital systems have been fucked for
I'm
like
not
2
thinking
years.
as a
Yeah, it was the hospitalization that killed us, bro. Like, it was the fact that shit got, like, because the hospitals were filling up, people were dying off of these ventilators, and then it came out that the ventilators was the very thing that was killing people. But it was a bunch of chaos around that situation, right? But what happened, look at us now. As we get further away from the chaos, and we start to do a little bit more research, and people start to do a little bit more, listening, okay, maybe the max mandate was stupid. Right, maybe we should have gone this about a different way. But that also goes to the testament of us just being humans. It's human nature. We're not always gonna get it right. This ain't a fucking Hollywood movie, bro. I know listen, if you want to talk about mind control, propaganda was a tool that, for mind control. But listen, y'all gotta understand, there's a lot of stuff that's at play when you're looking at stuff that affects the globe, okay? If you're looking at hospitals being closed down because they're filling up with people, all right, they got, people dying from these ventilators, they can't get enough of these ventilators, and on top of that, COVID basically exposing the fact that the US doesn't really have a manufacturing industry, now do we? if you really want to talk about conspiracy, that's the conspiracy right there. COVID only just exposed it. Because if you really think about it, there's a viral outbreak just about every, 3 to 7 years or so. There's a new form of SARS or MERS or whatever it is, right? We've gone through this, right? There was another hype about Ebola. Now, granted, it wasn't to the COVID level expense, but you can't deny there was still different levels of virus outbreaks out there. Okay, so viral outbreaks have always been a thing. Y'all act like it's crazy. You got to understand, when we're dealing with this stuff, it's you're not just dealing with you're dealing with the whole country. We're dealing with a whole group of people. So it's hard. I don't know how to explain this because I feel like I'm talking to children, bro. But it's like, listen, you can't just, not one decision is right. Is the right decision. There's no way you can tell. But the one thing you can realize is you can learn from your mistakes. And this whole COVID situation was a big blunder. It really was. But if you guys want to talk about conspiracy, the real conspiracy it wasn't the COVID, because we get these things happening once in a while. All right. The real conspiracy is COVID exposed how weak our infrastructure really was. Because you remember back in the day when people would complain about potholes in the road and how come, our infrastructure sucks, our buildings aren't built right? And for a while, the politicians were able to sweep all of that under the rug without giving the people a solid answer on what's going on with our infrastructure, right? Well, COVID only exposed that, because when we needed materials, when we needed to build hospitals, when we needed more ventilator parts, we couldn't do anything. We were stuck. We had to call on Elon Musk, and Elon Musk had to call on China. There was a bunch of shit that was going on. It made us realize that our country needed some restructuring, because there's a big problem if all of our companies are overseas and we can't make shit in this country. That's what COVID did. But you know what the politicians did? Some of the more mischievous ones, all right, when Americans were bringing up this very same argument I'm bringing up, what these politicians said was, no. We can't talk about the lack of infrastructure we have. Matter of fact, if you even mention COVID or the fact that we're being paid by these vaccine companies to push out this product right away, then you can't talk at all on these platforms. If you go down that conspiracy line, you have a point there. Because all that shit I can point to and say, yep, that's real. We don't got shit in this country. We can't manufacture nothing. That's real. Right? COVID exposed that. That's real. COVID exposed that everybody are doing useless service jobs. No one is making shit. That's real. But all this other bullshit, come on, dog. Like, what are we actually talking about here? Like, let's actually grow the fuck up. All right? Let's actually start thinking about these conspiracies. And by the way, y'all just saying conspiracy is a CIA term. These are actual real things that are happening, but conspiracies are just used to label people as idiots and not knowing what they're talking about. But realistically, these are things that are actually happening. I just find it interesting that when you guys are going down that rabbit hole, you're not talking about all the tangible, economical, and factual things that are actually happening that are causing this stuff. Y'all want to talk about these weird little outlandish, baseless control mechanisms. It's not one elite government trying to control you. That's not the case. It's not just the WEF or all these other financial or economical organizations that are out to control you. It's not just that, okay? It's about the money at the end of the day, all right? And guess what? It's a bunch of special interest groups that are lobbying for your government's power to fuel their growth. That's what's happening, okay? So it's not one world government, because your government, if you want to think about it, is just an empty husk, a shell of its former self being ran by corporations, okay? They make the rules. You don't. So I find it funny that the same dudes who are trying to break you out of the manosphere, right, they're getting you into this corporate mix, right? They're trying to fuel you into this capitalism culture, right? You got to run and, work for the man and, or not work for the man, I guess. You got to go out there and, build your business and, don't give a shit about anything else. Just, run and make a bunch of money, right? That's still participating in the capitalistic system. And that is responsible for the lopsided takeover of the government we see right now. Like, a lot of these guys don't get this shit, and yet they just wanna talk like they know everything. Listen, bro, I might do a O'Shea reaction video on this Pearl thing, bro. Like, I might actually have to do it, because I'm on O'Shea Duke's channel right now. He just dropped a video 3 hours ago about Pearl, and I kind of want to see what he's talking about. Hey, chat, you mind if we hang out for a little bit? All right, I know I want to leave in like 15 minutes, or actually like 3 minutes, but I can give myself another 15 minutes to see what O'Shea's talking about here. I want to see what my man is talking about over here. Hold up. Let me pull it up. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. I want to see what O'Shea's talking about. Because if Pearl really said that slavery was overblown, that's a problem. That's a big problem, bro. That's a really big problem. I got the video right here. Let me know if y'all can hear it, chat.
Hours for me have been very hectic in the community we call Black YouTube. Because yesterday I released this video called Just Pearly Things Just Disrespected Black People in the Worst Way. And this video has over 104,000 views in the first 24 hours, almost 5,000 comments, which is a really good video for a channel of my size. And while so many people agreed with my sentiments in the video, very many didn't. But before I get into the monologue of what I want to discuss today, or kind of more of the centerpiece of the discussion, I want to play the two clips in particular back to back so that you'll see why I am doing what I'm doing. And I'll just use those two clips and then I'll come back.
Argument was the Holocaust was not special and all countries have done that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. What do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, you know, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I denied some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds, oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna be in trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish.
What?
And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
Whoa! Hey, Pearl, you about to get canceled, dog. hey, first of all, for even fucking around with this dude here, they gonna label you a domestic terrorist. Can y'all imagine Pearl being labeled a domestic terrorist? That is just the most hilarious thing in the world, and you deserve every single word of it, too. Because look at this dude just sitting here nodding. Look at him, he's just nodding like that shit's funny. Like it's overblown. It's a myth that people are just telling stories by. Right? Tell that to the bro, I can't believe this. You can't tell that to the hundreds of thousands of families directly descendant of that horrible, overblown situation. Go ahead and tell them that shit was overblown. Or go to, bro, like, this is crazy. Wow. How much do you guys think she's doing it because it's what she really thinks, or it's because it's Nick Fuentes and she really actually doesn't have an opinion? She's just trying to please Nick Fuentes. Because he seems pretty pleased with the argument he just made. So I'm confused. If she's just trying to suck up to him, which would make no sense because she's got more clout than he does, so she should be grilling his ass right now, especially if majority of her supporters are black. Even people who are on your show, Pearl, are black. Oh, yeah, it wasn't just America that participated in the slavery, bruh. A lot of people did. A lot of countries. UK, Portugal, right? Yeah, okay. This is very interesting.
No, they all said I was crazy. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Austin.
Well, but you're very industrious.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people to care about their opinions and like what they ate for lunch and, things about my life that just make sense or whatever. But how many people could make a company and deal with the things you deal with, like recruiting and, because I mean, not on the same scale as you, but I do things and it's tough. It's a business. It's fun in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's a business. And that is a German attribute, to be industrious. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when I get the time wrong, when I think I'm supposed to be there way earlier than I'm actually supposed to be there. Because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you, I'm on my way, because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well,
So-
it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
yeah.
So the person,
Black people are always late, just like Italians. Bro, fuck this guy and everything he stands for with the power of 10,000 dildos. This guy's an asshole. I can't believe he just said that, bro.
that she is talking to is Nick Fuentes. This is important. Nick Fuentes. Now, who is Nick Fuentes? Well, don't take my word for it. Let's go to more of a reputable source. Nick Fuentes, if we look at him on Wikipedia, what does it say? And I know that Wikipedia can be off sometimes, but this seems to be what I would see from what I've researched about him accurate. It says this: sad music. Nicholas Joseph Fuentes, born August 18th, 1998, is an American white supremacist political commentator and live streamer. A former YouTuber, his channel was permanently suspended in February 2020 for violating YouTube's hate speech policy. He is known for holding anti-Semitic views and denying the Holocaust. Fuentes identifies as a member of the incel movement and as a supporter of authoritarian government and a Catholic integralist and a Christian nationalist. Let me click on the term of white supremacist. Okay?
Tell him,
White
O'Shea.
supremacy is the
Let him
belief
know.
that white people are superior to those of other races and thus should dominate them. The belief favors the maintenance and defense of any power and privilege held by white people. White supremacy has
Hey, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's a white supremacist. Listen, because he sat down, he's talked to Abba, he's talked to all these other guys. He's a white supremacist. He believes that just because he's white, he is better than other races who aren't white. That's completely different. And white supremacy has a direct correlation with racism. Because if you feel like you're better than another class or race of people, you start to develop negative perspectives about them. All right, so I'm forgetting the word here, but that's just basically he's a white supremacist. Listen to look at the definition. What do you call it? O'Shea Duke is reading out. So for you to just come here and even just first of all to even just defend that's wild to me that you're defending this guy. So I mean we already know what you're all about, Mister. But second of all, bruh, either way you put it, this man saying that black people are genetically inferior because of them being black compared to other racial groups, that's a problem. Because that's not an argument based in reality. And if you think that is, you and the way you think isn't based in reality. Because for every person that may be a person of color or black or Mexican or whatever it is, that you think is stupid because you're white, or I'm not assuming anybody's racist here, but if people who are listening to Nick Fuentes, they're walking out there thinking they're better than other races because they're white, that's a problem because they're not going to succeed out there in the real world. I guarantee you that there's going to be I guarantee you find some black folks that outdo you. You'll find some Nigerians that outdo you. You find some Hispanic people that outdo you any day. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you got here, it's your willingness to study and grow. Bruh.
has its roots in now discredited doctrine of scientific racism and was the key justification for European colonialism. So I just want to put myself into her shoes, okay? Now, if she is not a racist person, let's just think about this. She's made the majority of her money trying to do a lot of collaborations with black YouTubers. She's even tried to reach out to me before. Of course, that's a no-go, all right? But if you look at the people that she brings onto her channel, Brittany Renner, recently MTR, which is Media Tourism Reviews, people like that, she's trying to build somewhat of a team based on the black community. A lot of people who work for her are black, all right? Just black.
Bro, she's the female. I just realized this. This reminds me of No Jumper. Bruh. Pearl might be trying to get herself to be the female version of No Jumper, bruh. Because this is actually kind of look very familiar, bro. Because No Jumper has a bunch of black people acting crazy on his platform All right, but a lot of times he doesn't. It seems like when he does and sets up situations, right? Like the situation with Lil Kelpie and Almighty Suspect, when he got them both, fighting at each other. Some people can say, hey, someone like Adam is using black people just to make content, right? Because he's exploiting them, right? There was one time when that Boonk guy, he came into, when this was way, way, way back when Adam was doing this earlier stuff, right? But when y'all remember when Boonk came into the studio and he was like literally passing out. Dude was passing out and drilling all over the place. Listen, if Adam was a real one, he would have let that brother know this probably wasn't a good way to do an interview. But he still went along with the interview anyways, and dude just looked crazy. So I'm just saying, bro, some people look at No Jumper's platform and say that's he uses black people for views. And realistically, I'm looking at Pearl right now. I'm kind of noticing some similarities. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
So that we know. We know that from just looking at her live streams. Look at her thumbnails. Most of the people are who? Black. Melanie King? Black. Okay, so follow what I'm saying. You have black people who come into your studio, and then you fly out an American white supremacist who, based off his theory, looks at black people as below him. That's what all white supremacists do. It doesn't matter if they like black people, if they like black individuals. Some people even sleep with black people.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
I saw that, bro. Like, it was crazy. If y'all want, I could cover it. I mean, put a 1 in the chat, because that No Jumper shit was wild, bro. Like, you want to talk about backstabbing weirdos, bro. That is a weird situation with No Jumper. But yeah, if y'all want, put a 1 in the chat. I'll cover it.
The core values are what? Whites should rule over blacks because we are better than them. Then you mentioned that the person comes late. She's African. Then you talk to him about, you don't think that slavery is a real thing or it didn't happen to that much in front of the black people that you hire. Now, I want you guys to put yourself in these shoes, right? In these shoes. Imagine you lived in Israel. You had a podcast called Just Pearly Things. Could you invite Nick Fuentes, who is anti-Semitic, into that podcast in Bethlehem, Israel, or in Jerusalem, or any big city there? And then you have Jewish people that work for you, and let's say they're late. Can you say, sad music, haha, you're late, Jewish person? No, you could never say that, right? The Jews would never even allow you to come there. You would immediately be shut down. But here's how other black people who comment on my channel take it. Let's look at Lucky and Em. I believe in calling a spade a spade. She didn't say anything that isn't true, though, at least not for everyone. You ever heard of African time? No one is perfect at the end of the day. Yes, too bad, Lucky. She is saying that in front of a white supremacist, which you give that a complete pass,
they're
right?
niggas.
Again, it's okay if it's a white
we got
woman.
niggas defending this shit. Yo, are you serious? There are actually brothers out there who are defending this. This just shows you that the real chain, the real chain's up here, bro. We never really got out them chains 400 years ago. It just got reconstituted into something different. That's what it is. The chain is still in our minds, bro. Because some people they've just never been free. Now you can just see it. You can clearly see it. There's just some people out there who are walking around right now who have never been free. And it's clear to see. Anyone who defends that bullshit, like the fact that, listen, and we complain that, oh yeah, the Jews this, the Jews that. At least when somebody comes at their race or religion, the collective comes together and they shut down whoever is talking shit, right? But for some reason, when it comes to black folks, we just let anybody say whatever. That's it. It's like, whatever. You just come in and say whatever. And no, you'll get some of us applauding you. You don't see other Jewish people running around saying, yeah, Nick Fuentes was right, yet alone making a whole podcast about it. You don't hear all of that, right? So if we're talking about as a people, why most other races they don't see black folks, or from the outside looking in, we're not taken seriously, is because there's no unified front. There is no unified front. Because on one hand, you got people who are demonizing, and rightfully so, the bullshit this woman is on, the culture vulture siphoning that she's doing, especially in the black manosphere and the old manosphere overall, right? If you'll see that bullshit and you don't want to call it out, Bruh, the chains are up here. All right? The chain is not a physical thing. It's a mental thing now. And it's so sad to see brothers defending this shit.
That's why nobody who thinks like Lucky Enam will ever have anything. Nobody will ever respect anybody who thinks like him, okay? No Jewish person thinks like this and successful. No Asian person thinks like this and successful. You would never catch a Jewish person doing this. Blacks think like that.
That's why, listen, I'm sorry, O'Shea, I got to cut you off for just a second. This is why, say what you want about Jewish people, they're a respected group of people. Highly respected. Like, you would never catch a Jewish person saying this crap. Hell, even Igbo. If someone came out and started making fun of Igbo people, because we went through the equivalent of that shit, the Biafran War. If you guys haven't noticed, the Biafran War is a real thing. A bunch of Igbos, our people, got killed by our government. It was a real thing that happened, like, and actually in recent history. It was really bad. But it went on while there's something else in the world that was going on, so we didn't get as much attention towards it, right? Because Reagan was dealing with this old bullshit. But if someone came out and said, hey, the Igbos, that situation, right? They deserved it. They deserve to be murdered by their own government. You will never catch another Igbo man, woman, or tribe coming out here and backing that statement. They will collectively stand up and demonize that crap. So I don't see any racial group or any ethnic group that would support another person pretty much trivializing their struggle. That's not a real thing. But you see that in the black community.
And have nothing based on that. It's okay in calling a spade, even if it's in front of a white supremacist who feel that your black employees are genetically less than he is. Let's look at somebody else. Christopher Walker on my video commented, maybe I'm a part of the minority, but I don't really see what she did wrong exactly. I am a black person who is most definitely pro-black, but I don't see the extreme nature of the situation, especially within the context.
What?
Context. This is where he's really messed up. How can you be a pro-black person and you're okay with a white person who has hired black people having a conversation with a white supremacist and you call yourself pro-black? This is how sick some brothers are. Hey, I'm telling you, you expect.
Hey, our brothers need help. Black boys are suffering. Hey, fuck this. Hey, fuck this patriarchy shit. I'm gonna tell you this patriarchy shit wasn't for us. Hey, black folks, this patriarchy, manosphere, red pill shit, it wasn't for us, bruh. Okay? First of all, Christianity wasn't even our traditional religion, okay? Because those of us who believe that, African people came from Africa and black people came from Africa, right? And you're not off that new age conspiracy of that FBA nonsense, right? Those of you guys believe that your ancestors came from tribes with their own gods, their own religion, and their own way of running society. Matter of fact, for those of you guys who don't know, before Christianity and Islam made their way to the African continent, most African tribes lived in largely egalitarian societies, okay? Not equal societies. Equality is different from egalitarian. Egalitarian meaning we recognize the difference between men and women, but then we use their skills accordingly to work, for civilization to work, all right? That's what most African nations were, all right? Until Islam and Christianity came and conquered the continent, a lot of African tribes had their own gods. Okay, even my tribe, we had a god, the god of thunder, Amadioha, all right? We have our own religion, but when Christianity came and dominated with their own patriarchal and Christian release, right, it took over, and the stronghold and the bonds of that religion has been with the continent till this day. And guess why it spread so far? Because religion, all of that stuff, the Christianity and the Islam, was used as a form of control. And they use that to dominate the African population. You understand that, right? So the fact that we got some black folks coming up here and trying to y'all don't even do research on your own history. And this is sad. This is sad. People who fought for the freedom of African Americans today, they be turning their graves right now. Because y'all didn't even bother to even look at what the fuck goes on. If we have black folks coming out here justifying a white woman thinking slavery was not a big deal. Y'all niggas need help.
Respect some brothers like this, and no disrespect to the brother, but this is why black men don't have anything. Brother Walker, he's not a pro-black. You cannot be pro anything. Being okay with a white supremacist, making a joke about blacks, I don't care if it's true or not. No other group who is pro their people will ever accept that. But that's what's wrong with woke pro-blacks. Phony, lukewarm pro-blacks. You can never be like this and be pro-black. You're pro-buffoon and that thinking, but you're definitely not pro-black. Let's continue. The first accusation was a big stream and a reach, but the second accusation was a huge reach too. Okay, so the first accusation was a reach. You're talking about Jason Black's video. about, Africans being late. And the second accusation was a huge reach too, right? The second accusation was brought up because the stigma of black people being late is a stereotype we all participated in. She didn't say the guy's name because he's black. She said the guy's name because he was late and is late most of the time. She said African, then she laughed after the guy said he's black. Dima, stop the show. Dima, go back once the guy said, oh, he's late because he's black. And look at how she laughed after that.
Well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
In front of the black person talking to the white supremacist, Mr. Walker, let's go. That ironically goes to a stereotype that is portrayed towards black people. Then the male gets entertained her statement by saying because he's black. With the context given, is Pearl in the wrong for stating that her employee was on time, who is usually late by her joke? Again, context in the same way the guest white male is always late but showed up on time too. She's talking to a white supremacist who don't like black people, brother. The fact she even had that conversation with black people in the room is the wrong thing. That's why you brothers don't have nothing. That's why you're at the bottom of the barrel. That's why your women don't respect you. Don't nobody respect you, because black men, sometimes, not every black man, right? But y'all will make an excuse for buffoonery for other people to keep disrespecting you, and you wonder why you don't have nothing. That thinking right there. That's why black women don't respect you, brothers. That's why the white man don't respect you, brothers. And don't nobody take y'all serious that think like that. I'm sorry, guys.
Anyone that thinks someone like Lord Marquardt, okay, someone like this guy over here, y'all already know who this dude is, all right? This grandma suit, couch pattern wearing suit dude over here, bruh. When I came after this dude, the most hate I got, because this guy's a big scammer. He's YouTube's bigger scammer. Y'all don't realize that, right? But when I came after this dude, I think the most hate I got were from other black folks who followed this man. Right? And it didn't make any sense because he scams black people primarily. And on top of that, he's one of them undercover racists too, right? He shits on black people all damn day with these stupid ass stereotypes. He does the same thing with black women, even worse, all right? And then when he gets criticized, he runs behind black people and hide behind them. And those very same black people he ridicules are up there with their arms outstretched to shield him from the criticism. And I never understood that. It's like, yo, why are my own people attacking me for exposing that they're being had? And this is what I'm talking about. When people don't take black folks seriously, they look at this crap and they say, okay, that kind of makes sense why we're not ahead right now. And that's a cold, hard truth. A lot of people don't want to realize that, but we promote scammers, liars, cheats, and thieves over rational people. You know what they call irrational people in our community? They call us lames. Right? While we out here promoting King Von, a serial killer. We don't have our priorities together. And it stops with this patriarchy nonsense. Because this patriarchy bullshit, it wasn't for us. We were not founded on patriarchal values. Our continent, Africa, had its own system, its own way of governing, its own laws, and yes, even our own gods. But the missionaries, the ayatollahs, or whatever you want to call them, the Islamic prophets, they came over with the Christianity and Islam, and they took our land, they took our people, and washed away all semblance of our identities. All of it. So even with some of y'all African Americans who are descendants of African nations right now, even if you want to find out about your history, you really truly can't, because that shit was whitewashed by Christianity a long ass time ago. And it's a sad thing. That's a very, very sad thing that we don't realize. The brainwashing goes deep, y'all. It goes too damn deep.
Gotta tell the truth. No person of any race who love their people can accept that. That's why immigrants have things and we don't have nothing in the black community, because of brothers think like that. But a white person, if you did that, they gonna slap you or they gonna try to get rid of you. Jews gonna persecute you if you talk about them. Asians gonna go to the Spotify and get your albums released if you even talk about Chinese people, Asian people. Gays, the same thing, but the black person makes excuses for why other folks disrespect your people. That's why you don't have nothing that's black. Let's talk about this. Brian Brown stops. There's plenty of truth to it. Americans are lazy, especially the black race. I don't know who this person is.
Wow!
He's
yo,
now,
hey, hold up. Nigga, change your name to Uncle Ruckus. you a whole ass Uncle Ruckus, bro. He says Americans are lazy, especially the black race. All them niggas over there. Yep, the black race. I'm the lazy ones over there. Bro, what is this? yo, dog, my G. If these niggas don't even love themselves, how do you expect them to love black women? If these black men don't even love themselves, how do you expect them to love their women? Just food for thought.
I don't know who this person is. This person, let's assume he's black.
That's
now,
Uncle Ruckus.
Americans can be lazy, and some blacks are lazy. But if black people are lazy, brother, how are they 20% of the military? Can't be 20% of the military and you lazy, or in sports and you lazy, or in healthcare and you lazy. Most black people work a full-time job, pay taxes. Can't be lazy when in slavery, the blacks was developing the country based off the slave labor. See, people who perpetuate.
Technically, if we want to be real about this, blacks and Chinese. It's even often said that Chinese built a lot of American railways out here. So if we're just being real, the blacks were slaves, the Chinese were slaves. Listen, America was not a good place. Matter of fact, if you weren't part of what they called there was a special group of white people, right? I forgot what it was. They came from like this era where they had kings and queens and shit like that. I forgot what it was. They have a specific name for it. But these type of white people believe they were better whites than other white people, including Irish people, including Italians like Nick Fuentes, okay? I forgot what the term is. I'll figure out what the term is. If you guys know what the term is, put it in the chat. But it's a group of Anglo-Saxons. That's what it is. Anglo-Saxons, Anglo-Saxon people. Let me know if I'm saying that right. I think it's the Anglo-Saxons, right? They're a group of people, they were a group of two kingdoms that came together back in the day to fight off the Romans, right? Because this was all going on back in that time, to fend off the Romans, or maybe they were the remnants of the Roman Empire. I don't know. But it was somewhere within that. They emerged as prominent, all right? And they had this idea of being, their whiteness is better than other types of whiteness. Why do you think in the UK, you have people who are Irish, but they don't like the British people? Why do you think that is, right? You had the IRA for a long time, doing terrorist attacks against the British people. Why? Because the Anglos back in the day, which formed the modern day British Empire, right, or the prior day in British Empire, they took over the land and took over the Irish people as well, and they didn't like that. So for a while they've been rebelling. I don't know if they're cool now or whatever it is, but it's still tensions over there. So those Anglos, the Anglo-Saxons, I think is how you say it, they believe that they're the better whites, and that kind of thought process is seeping into some white Americans and white Westerners today, right? Especially some of them that believe in this Anglo-Saxon kind of nonsense. Right? They believe that they're the better whites. That's why they were able to enslave. I don't think they enslaved certain Irish people or Italians, but I do realize there were certain people back then which was shocking to me because I didn't know that. But I think there were also people who were Irish and people who were also Italians that were sold into slavery. I might be wrong, but it wasn't just black people. And realistically, even if you go down to the continent of Africa, there were slavery all over the place. It was an economy, and that's another thing. But that's another story for a different day. But the fact of the matter is, it still doesn't make it right. It still doesn't make it a thing that can be looked at as trivial, as overblown. It was a serious thing that took out a lot of people and fucked up a lot of generations, even till this day. So the fact that they're taking it lightly is painful.
To make these stereotypes about the people, that's why you don't have nothing. Stop letting other groups disrespect the black community. And this is why when y'all go to other communities, they look at y'all funny, some of y'all brothers. Not everybody. And then you think that somebody gonna come and support you. The Asian man, the white man, he got pride. He can never forget where he came from. He can never let nobody talk about him this way. But the black man is twiddling his thumbs, some of my brothers, is thinking like this. The lady is being disrespectful just by having a white supremacist there, brother.
Facts. I said this. I didn't even watch this show. I didn't even know she said this, bro. I saw the thumbnail of her and Nick Fuentes, and I was done. I instantly knew. I'm like, oh, hell no. You're done. You're going to get canceled. That's just what it is. I didn't know she said what she said because I didn't think she'd be dumb enough to say what she said, even on her platform. This is some shit that I expect Pearl to say on Rumble or Kick. But the fact that she said that on YouTube, on her platform, with this bum-ass dude in the studio, yeah, bruh. Like, you a clown. You a whole ass clown. And I hope your channel ends up like Sneako's. All right? Because Sneako went down the exact same footsteps you're doing right now. And it's so fucking fake. He's using the people to help you get on top. That's so crazy, bro.
Already out of pocket. I could never bring a white supremacist. I have Africans here. I could never bring somebody in the room that there's a white supremacist and have a conversation with them knowing I got black employees or African employees. I just can't even fix my mouth to do that. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy.
O'Shea. Hold up. You said O'Shea said he did another video. I want to see what the other one is. Guys, I know. I said that last one was the last one. All right, but I actually want to see what O'Shea said in the first video because he said 118,000 views. So this was clearly important. Hold on, I got to show my support real quick. All right, let's go ahead and watch this. Y'all hit the like button.
African. Well, he's black.
Yeah.
A few days ago, Just Pearly Things had an interview with white supremacists or white
Hold up, Kadazy. There's 3? Oh, hell yeah. It's a marathon now. Hey, Saturday night, bro. We in the spot.
nationalist, whichever you want to categorize him, Nick Fuentes. Now, Nick Fuentes is a 24-year-old man who is very outspoken about, white nationalism and things like that. So she had him on a live stream. Now, what's very interesting about that is Just Pearly Things has a podcast that is based in London. And I would say that the majority of her full-time cast, I would say, would be a member of the Black London community. Like there's King Richards over there. There's a few other brothers over there. And they've built that channel into a really good powerhouse. She's really organized and things like that, which would make me wonder why she's interviewing Nick Fuentes. Now, typically she talks about things like modern women. A lot of the things that you would see in the manosphere are talking points. And a lot of people have accused her of, stealing from Kevin Samuels or stealing from the manosphere and then monetizing it. But this interview with Nick Fuentes proves to me that
O'Shea, I wish you kind of touched up a little bit more on that because I want to know what your thought process is, O'Shea, on Pearl using Kevin Samuels' talking points. And I think that'd be a nice little thing. And I think O'Shea has pretty strong opinions about it. And he probably has a reason for not saying it. But realistically, I wish he would have harped on that because that is true. Like, is she doing well? Because Kevin Samuels and O'Shea Jackson, they were like close, like peas in a pod. So how does he even feel about Pearl bastardizing his talking points and then spitting in Kevin Samuels' face by inviting this bozo on here? Holy shit! Omni Design in studio. Bro. Yo, shout out to you. Thank you for the $100 super chat, bruh. Thank you. He says, I'm Mexican, and I believe my African brothers influenced the evolution of society in a major way. From Egypt to the Olmec civilization in Mexico, my African brothers played a major role in the evolution of our civilization. Keep up the good work. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for helping out with the channel, bro. I really appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. The country and the world, think about it. There was a lot more. What people don't realize, back in the era that they want to talk about, there were a lot more ships moving. Maybe there weren't new worlds being discovered like then and there, but they were in the process of being discovered. Meaning, there were already merchants sailing on boats, going to different places and trading different things. So the economy was already active. And not only that, back in the prehistoric human civilization era, right? Africans were being moved all over the place even before the modern day times that we see this stuff. So Africans, Mexicans, South Americans, all of these people were all traded all over the place. The more notorious ones were slave trade from Africa. And the reason why the slave trade from Africa was a lot more prominent than all these other slave trades that went on in the world was because we allowed our people to do that too, right? Because y'all remember that, what's that movie that one lady, Viola Davis, did, right? On the African tribe. Can y'all put that in the chat? What's the name of the African tribe that Viola Davis did a movie? The Woman King. Y'all remember that? The Homie tribe, or is it the Homie tribe, right? The Homie tribe. They killed each other. They even warred with the Yoruba tribe, which was part of Nigeria before the British got to it, right? The Yoruba tribe fought with the Dahomey tribe, and the losers were sold into slavery. It got so bad that they decided, hey, if these guys are gonna be willingly killing or selling off their people, let's just pay them for it. And it became an economy, right? And more people just sold African slaves because they were cheaper than all the other slaves that are out there. But back in the day, it was crazy. And the one thing people are negating to realize that it wasn't just white. I mean, most people, these Anglo-Saxons can walk around thinking that, you know, they believe this idea that they built the world and they're the reason why industries runs, but that's not true. They built the world off of the backs of other people, other races. That's just what it is. Even the modern American history at that point in time was built off the backs of cotton, all right? And people were picking cotton weren't the wealthy landowners, that's for sure. So, hey, shout out to you for the super chat, bro. Thank you.
She's trying to take her business into a different reality, probably because she feels like at some point there's going to be a dead end for the modern women thing. And I noticed when she's live, she doesn't get nearly as many viewers as Fresh and Fit. So I think she's trying to make the same pivot that Adam 22 is trying to make, and even like Joe.
Yo, chat. I called this in the last video. O'Shea saying the exact same thing, bro. I called this in the last video. It looks like no jumper. She's trying to be a no jumper, bro. Deuces of Growth, shout out to you. He says, y'all are overreacting. Black Americans are racist towards Africans. Just go watch the FBAs. They downplay our struggles. Pearl is cool. No. You're absolutely right. But you got to understand, when Africans come to America, they don't, like, for instance, people don't think I'm Nigerian unless I tell them I'm Nigerian. You understand? Otherwise, I get treated like a black person. Even if I do tell them I'm Nigerian, I still get treated as a black person. Why? Because I'm a black person at the end of the day, right? So when you see, and realistically, you have a point where African Americans are racist towards Africans, and that's a given, okay? But realistically, we're talking about the race here between whites and blacks and pro-blacks, all right? Because O'Shea's making an argument about pro-black Americans who are in support of Pearl. And if you're pro-black, you shouldn't be supporting anyone that speaks to a guy that believes that black people on average have low IQs. You see what I'm saying? I'm more inclined to debate someone who looks like me and educate them on certain issues, right? For instance, when I called out Tariq Nasheed on his little race baiting nonsense, that was bullshit. It's nothing but race baiting, right? But it's different when you go to another land because all the other races are going to see you as it's just a black person at the end of the day, right? And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, wow, that's a crazy thing to say," but it's kind of true, bro. I've been through living in Wisconsin. You go through it, and don't sit there and tell me that there aren't other Africans out there that haven't done through some kind of prejudice out there. It exists, okay? And we get it through for people that look just like us, right? They don't like the idea of being African, but the idea is if you're a pro-black individual, regardless of which, you're not supposed to be indulging something like what Pearl is doing. All right, you would not catch Africans. Africans wouldn't come up here and say, "Yeah, you know what? What Pearl's doing, talking to someone like Nick Fuentes, a known white supremacist. That's a great thing. Let's support that." Nah. Under no circumstances would that fly ever. So I think it's a more on the united front. So realistically, I'd rather set an example, right? Listen. I criticize my own community, but don't mean I'm gonna allow somebody else who really clearly doesn't understand the struggle come in and say things they don't know about. Like for instance, black people being late or whatever stereotype she wants to throw out there. So I'm just saying there's a big difference. But I thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Button. They're trying to bring on like controversial people. You see Adam 22 bringing on people like Tariq Nasheed. He wants to have Tariq Nasheed debate people on his platform and all of that. And again, that's to get into a larger audience, right? And that's not just them doing it. It's a lot of people. Valuetainment is doing that same playbook. So all of them are trying to get into a different market. In doing so, they're using people who will have controversial views, such as Nick Fuentes. Now, let me just say this. Popular YouTuber Jason Black, who also runs the business YouTube channel, has pointed this out. And I know brother Jason Black, he was, way more popular than me when I first started YouTube, and he has a really strong audience. He has a really loyal fan base. I've had a chance to talk to him one time on Instagram. Not Instagram, Facebook Messenger. We were both friends on Facebook, and I like what he has to say as a pro-black myself, right? I don't disagree with him too much for the things that I've heard. However, when he criticized Just Purdy Things in the past, people were saying that he was a hater, he was jealous of her success and all of this, right? So he, on his channel, the business YouTube platform, he has broken down the interview with Just Purdy Things into timestamps. So it was very easy for me to follow to see what I wanted to see. And at first, Just Purdy Things, who has, like I said, a lot of black employees, King Richards being one of them, they were having a conversation about African employees versus American employees. And this is what, Jason Black was trying to point out, that he felt that she was trying to take a diss at African Americans. So I want to play that clip and let's see if he's right.
I wonder what Miss Pearly Things thinks of African immigrants versus black Americans, specifically descendants of slaves, foundationals. I wonder what she thinks of that. If we get into the immigration discussion, I wonder what she's gonna say if you ask her about that. Brace yourselves, all of her supporters.
No. And that's not a conservative position, especially not 50 million people in 10 years.
Right.
Because America's got 300 million. So, what is that? 1/6 of the population in 10 years.
And so why is that?
Why does he support that?
No, why are you against pro? Because in my head, see, I hire people from Africa, right?
Right.
Shout out Blessing.
Yeah.
And I just see like the work ethic of people that are like not from America, and they often work harder than the people that are from America. So in my head, it's like, wouldn't it help us economically if we had more, like if they had a certain like mindset in order?
Well, I told you were gonna get your hearts and your feelings and your souls broken. There's no way you can defend her now and sit up here and say you cool with it. She just outright told you, well, they work harder than people. Now she means
but
black.
Here's the thing. Although there is some level of validity to what she's saying, but that's the thing with immigrants though. Like when you come into a country where it's all depends on how hungry you are to get something, right? If you're a hungry person and you want something, you're gonna do whatever to take it, right? So typically immigrants, people who come in here, they have more of a chip on their shoulder because they know where they came from and they know what they're here to do. So a lot of times they don't fuck around. They come here to work and that's it. They don't have the luxury because some of them, they don't even have the same rights as most American citizens do. The same thing with black Africans, right? When we immigrate here, we don't have similar rights that most black people have. So when we're here, when we're working, typically we're not gonna get into certain things. We're just gonna go. It is what it is, right? And you can say the same thing for black people that immigrate to other countries too as well, right? Immigrants typically, when they go to other countries, for the most part, we're not talking about the Austin Hollemans of the world, okay? But for the most part, they typically tend to grind a lot harder than the local population. For instance, I used to believe this theory was true, that a lot of Africans outwork, which is on average, there's a validity to it. But then again, I see Africans, like some African Americans that go overseas, even some of them that go to Africa and some of them travel to certain other places. And I'm talking about not YouTube niggas. I'm talking about like business like African Americans. Some of the people that I think would be beneficial for certain countries in Africa, right? They go down there and they work extremely hard and they hire people and create economies for the local group there. So I think when you look at it from a macro scale, it literally goes either way. But for on average, she's making a point there. Is just realistically with Nick Fuentes though, that's a problem. Kadeza, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. It says Pearl is creating opportunities for Africans while Black Americans call us tethers. Pearl sees value in us while Bob mocks us and call us fufu bandit. Bro, I think you know who. Listen. The people who are in the ADOS group, the people who are FBA group, that shit can get toxic. That shit is, matter of fact, the Tariq Nasheed, I battled it out with Tariq Nasheed already, all right? Because I don't agree with his tether theories and bullshit, okay? Realistically, it's a dumb thing to do, and it's a dumb way to look at Africans. But do I think just because we Africans are discriminated against black people in this country, do I think that it gives us a right to just not to hate or not work with some African Americans here? I think that's a horrible thing to do. I think it's better for the black demographic to try to represent a united front, especially in the face of other racial and ethnic groups out there, versus fighting amongst each other. That's what I think. And it's not going to get to a point of where it's going to be like a perfection or anything like that, where all the groups and ethnicities going to sing kumbaya here and there. I'm just saying that it looks better, especially people who come to Western cultures, to put up a united front versus going around and dissing each other's race. And I know Africans, we do the same thing too. Okay, so it goes back and forth. There's some that, listen, if you go to some places in Nigeria right now, the perception they have about black Americans, it isn't the greatest. And I think it's because of media manipulation. They show the worst part about black America, the same thing up here. They show the worst parts about black Africans, and it just leads to a bunch of propaganda. I think if we all grow up and have adult conversations about certain things, we'd realize that our differences aren't that different.
I like my African immigrants. They work harder than people from America.
So in this first clip, I thought it was sort of a reach because she's just saying Americans, and he's trying to insinuate that she's saying black people are African Americans. So I really couldn't nail her on that particular talking point, right? But it gets worse. Jason Black does a yeoman's job in really nailing her to the cross on this next point. Now, this is going to be a point about being on time, and you're going to hear what Nick Fuentes has to say about black people after that. I'm going to play that particular clip right there, and then we'll come back.
Very industrious.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people.
Okay, now let me back up just a little bit more here, because he's talking about people being hardworking. He's talking about people in general from various other places. I think he mentioned Germany. But I want you to get the full context of this, so when she says what she says, it smacks you upside the back of the head like a cinder block.
Yeah.
Yo, who's spamming in the chat? Don't spam in the chat, bro. Rolo's a loser. Who the fuck is... Yo, Supermoose, what are you saying, bro? Stop spamming the chat, dog. Like, hey, if Rolo saved your life, you're not going to like this channel, because I clown the dude on a daily basis, bro. I personally think Rolo Tomasi's a retard. So if he saves your life, I feel sorry, bro. That's not what we're all about over here, bro. Don't spam that shit in the chat.
I was like, "Stem, no." They all said I was crazy. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Austin.
Well, but you're very industrious.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people to care about their opinions and like what they ate for lunch and, things about my life that just make sense or whatever. But how many people could make a company and deal with the things you deal with, like recruiting and, because I mean, not on the same scale as you, but I do things and it's tough. It's a business. It's fun in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's a business. And that is a German attribute, to be industrious. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when
That is not a German attribute to be industrious. That's just if anything, I call it an essential part of human evolution, you dummy. Like, what are you talking about? It's a German thing to be naturally industrious. People can say that about any racial group or an ethnic group. They can say the Jewish people were industrious, right? They can say, bro, what are you talking about? These race theories are so dumb and just convoluted.
Like, get the time wrong when I think I'm supposed to be there way earlier than I'm actually supposed to be there. Because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you, I'm on my way, because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
Where are all the folks who said I was a hater? Where are all the folks who were sitting up here saying, well, Jason, you reaching, you stretching? Where are all of them now? I want to know where all of them are after tonight.
He's got a point.
Yeah, ha, 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 he. What's so damn funny?
You know what else I find interesting? Listen, even going back to it, it's one thing if you're looking at Africans versus Black Americans. At least we're both Black, and we can fight amongst each other and air out our differences, right? You got the dummies of the world like Tariq Nasheed that wants to spread that race baiting shit out there to further divide us. But realistically, some level, especially when we come to Western countries, our struggles are the same, right? So it's one thing for us to argue amongst each other. Oh, if you're not really Black, or you're not really Black, or you're foundational Black and you're not. But when a white person here like Pearl, all right, clearly is saying things because she's not part of Black Americans or nor understands the what's going on between Black Americans and Africans. So there's a whole situation between them. But her coming out and making that statement while grifting off of Black people, that's what's making it a problem right now. I hope you guys understand that, right? So it's not even just pushing racial shit aside. First of all, I think that's a horrible thing to say because I think it just comes down to your level of work ethic. On average, most immigrants work better, right? But that depends on what country you're immigrating to. Black Americans that immigrate to Africa, I've seen them do wonderful things. You go to Nigeria right now, there are African Americans in Nigeria right now. Some of them are building businesses and helping the local economy. I think it's a great thing. Matter of fact, I think we need more migration of Black Americans to Nigeria and some of these African countries to better help the economy down there. I think that's a good thing. I don't see any problems with that. Vice versa. If immigrants can come up here and work hard and help the economy, why not, right? But I just don't think that someone who's here making a profit off of talking about Black women, the relationship between Black women and Black men, okay, and grifting off of it. This is the same person that is then turning around and calling you lazy. She's not talking about Africans. She's trying to divide you and us, all right? She's dividing African Americans from Africans right now. She's saying, y'all African Americans are lazy. Meanwhile, she's been grifting off of Black people and their situation this entire time. Because I'm going to tell you this, when she's talking about feminism, she's not talking about the shit in Africa. When she's talking about conservatism and all that bullshit talking points, she's not talking about Africans. She's talking about unique Black struggles. So you have a woman who a lot of Black men are supporting, and she's making money and building a fame off of, but then turns around and says, yeah, I'm not even going to hire you American Blacks. I'm not going to hire you guys at all. I'm going to go with the Africans. Now, again, listen, I think it's wrong. I think it's a horrible thing to do because you're technically discriminating, all right? But then again, this says more about Pearl's character in how she views Black people versus anything else. And the reason why I have this equal level of smoke for her, even though I'm African and not Black, is because realistically, I'd want a Black brother to stick up for me if some white person was doing some dumb shit against Africans. I would want to represent a united front. So I'm going to lead by example, all right? You're not going to trivialize Black struggles in favor of another racial group. That's stupid, or ethnic group, I'm sorry. So I think if we understand the difference, it's two different things.
What's so damn funny now? Oh yeah, before this is over, I'm going to name names. What's so damn funny now?
Deuces of growth. If we're going to acknowledge that, we also have to acknowledge the African slave owners that sold our people into this place, into the slavery to begin with, because they also own slaves. So again, it's not a black and white thing. And I think the issue is, I stopped looking at shit black and white. I start looking at it, like I start looking at the middle. Like the black and white, it's a slippery slope to extremism. But that's just what it is. I don't listen to the black and white. I like to keep it neutral, okay? If it went down here, what was the root cause of it? If you look at the root cause of it, Africans owned slaves. And realistically, I'm even going any further, Nigeria played a huge part in the slave trade. If we're just going to be honest. So, if we look at the full history, we got to put that into context. You see what I'm saying? That's why I can't go hard at just one group, even though I know we were wrong. You see what I'm saying? It comes off kind of weird. But let's continue. That was a good point.
You can't lie and say you didn't see this. Jason Black has been talking about this now for over a year, for about 2 years now. And I've been naming this chick in particular. I said it from day one. Hey, she doesn't need to be given any space around here. I said it the whole time. Where are the folks who are sitting up criticizing me now? Because you're going to have to justify this. And you're going to have to justify why it is that Jason said it the whole time, and you were defending it the whole time, and you're just now saying something. By the way, yeah, you all thought she was going to leave it alone. that wasn't Fuentes who brought up the black people this time.
That was
he
her.
talked about him being late, and then she
was
brings
all
up
her.
the black folk around her.
Bro, and another thing, if she thinks this about black folks, just think, it's an easy slippery slope to think certain prejudice about Africans too. We're not that different. So of course I'm gonna have smoke for her. If she's thinking this way about black folks, right? I mean, realistically, if she didn't know I was Nigerian, she would probably think the same way about me. Let's just be real. So, like, bruh, this is serious. Like, she for real is walking around here with all this prejudice in her rich little pearly head. Okay, so, I mean, think about it. This woman comes from a privileged background than a lot of black folks and other Africans from immigrant countries come from, okay? Domain Collins, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. He says, Africans sold their own people. So, yeah, I'm well aware of that. Listen, I study history too. I'm not stupid. I know, like, it'd be ignorant of me, someone who's read up on history and knows exactly how shit went down, to just blame it on one event or one group of people. You got to look at where this whole situation came from, and realistically, we own slaves too, and I'm saying we, but like Nigerians and Africans, you know, the coastal ones, they really worked that slave trade. It was an economy back then. So realistically, if we're gonna get on one side, we got to get on the other, and then that's the same thing with the feminism and the red pill, right? If we're gonna talk about feminism, we got to also check the red pill, because the red pill is male feminism. That's pretty much what it is. But I thank you so much for the super chat.
You know, those cute little African that she has working for her, she's the one who brings them up.
So guys, you can argue a lot of things, but one of the things you can't do is argue with the truth. That clip is really disrespectful, not only to the African person Blessing, because this is the same person that you said you want to bring to America because they work better than Americans, but at the same time, you're saying that, well, she's late, African, right? And then he says, yeah, she's late, well, because she's black. And then you laughed. So here's something that I really want to honestly say, right? And I know, like, a lot of black dudes in the manosphere, black manosphere, like Jess Purdy things. Obviously, I don't think most of her audience is black, but you do have some brothers that were defending her.
Nah, I think a good majority of her audience is black, bro. I really think so, because black people really elevated her, and it's sad to see this nonsense.
And she has worked with a lot of black YouTubers. I mean, I have emails of her asking me for interviews.
Her whole platform and talking points from Kevin Samuels, for Pete's sakes.
In 2021, when she was still small. But if you guys know me, I don't really work with, I don't really collaborate outside of the race, even on YouTube. So it kind of goes against my personal goals. Not to say that I don't like anybody, or I'm racist or anything, but I'm a black YouTuber and I am a pro-black, so I only really work with the black YouTube community or black content creators. What she said right there.
And that's why, and those of y'all who say, oh, O'Shea, Duke, why do you fuck with O'Shea so heavy? He's one of those black Americans, African Americans that I talk about that goes to Africa and actually helps out with the economy. So, like, anybody that does that, you get an automatic A in my book, because that is such a clutch thing to do. It's not even funny. Most people even, listen, most second generation Nigerians, third generation Nigerians don't even think about Nigeria no more, okay? So they don't even think about going back. They get infected with Western culture, and that's a wrap, okay? So there's a big brain drain in a lot of these African countries right now, because a lot of it is being sucked out. So if we see any return of some kind of economy or some kind of throwback, we would accept that. We would appreciate that with honors. That's why I respect O'Shea and anyone who goes out to these other countries and tries to build something out of there, because first of all, it's like going to the Wild West and trying to make a name for yourself, and second of all, you're actually doing something to help the economy. That's why I love what Mr. Beast was doing, right? And a lot of people got mad at what Mr. Beast was doing, like, he's the white savior complex. But realistically, where was our government at? If you really think about it, where was our government, right? Where if we want to talk about what he's doing in all these other nations and he's helping people see and stuff, where was the government for them to put enough funding in the healthcare to help their own people, right? Why is it that the president of Nigeria has to fly to a Western country to get medical treatment rather than getting medical treatment in his own country? Right? Why doesn't he spend the money on the infrastructure to build his own country? Why is he going outside and spending money with the white folks? Africans do that too. Okay, so it's not just a black thing. Okay, it's not just a white thing, or not white thing, black thing or African thing, right? It's a thing that people do. I don't appreciate that, right? So where are our people at when the Ukraine shit went down, right? And black people were, or at least the Nigerians in the country, were trying to figure out how to get the fuck out, right? Where was our country to come out and help those people, help their citizens get out of that situation? Boop. So if African countries are showing that they don't even give a fuck about their own people most of the time, like, you can't get mad if somebody else from a foreign country is coming down to try to help. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just a weird way to look at things.
It's completely disrespectful. The guy is right. All right. If you want to have those conversations, like, and I have friends of other races, and if we're gonna joke around like we have before, you know what I'm saying, like offline, or say certain things. I mean, even with other Africans, we can do that. But to say that publicly and then laugh, that was an opportunity for you to be like, yo, bro, that's like not cool, or cut that comment out of the live stream. But he's right. She's the one that brought it up. Like, he wasn't bringing up the fact that her staff was late. You said blessing, then African. And again, it's like, okay, she said that, but Jason Black says, we brought her into this black space. I don't really think that's the case.
O'Shea. No, O'Shea. No, you can't say that. You can't say that, O'Shea, because we did. We did. Obsidian said she was the new leader of the Black Manosphere. He said that, okay? So, I mean, we kind of elevated her, and Jason Black's not wrong. He's not wrong there. The Real Blackula, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. He said, Duke the Don, can you fluently speak any Nigerian languages? I can speak Igbo, but not fluently. So I can understand it very well, and I can speak it, but like it's kind of like speaking. To me, it's like speaking broken English, right? So it's not really 100%, but I know a lot in Igbo. Yeah, so I'm tapped in, but not fluently tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Deuces of Growth, shout out to you for another $5 super chat. He said, Black Americans like to hide the fact and play innocent to blame everyone else. The full history says they even legalized slavery in the U.S. Whoa, what? Deuces, what are you saying? Are you saying black people legalized slavery in the U.S.? I don't think, or are you saying, wait, what are you saying? He says black Americans like to hide the fact and play innocent to blame everyone else. The full history say they even legalized slavery in the U.S. I disagree wholeheartedly with the last statement that you're making there. I don't think that black people legalized slavery. I don't even think black people had a choice in the matter. But I do think that the modern day situation with African Americans, yes, there is that element of, we're blaming certain things for situations right now, right? Like when some black folks will blame racism even though they're late to a job or whatever it is, right? Or they're not performing well in a job or whatever that situation may be, all right? You can't put racism for actions that you have control over. You see what I'm saying? But to sit there and say that, listen, like, black I don't, maybe that's not what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say, bro. Please clarify. But I fucks with you. You know that, right? I fucks with you, Deuces. I fuck with you, but you got to clarify what you're trying to say. But yeah, I mean, I've been made fun of. Listen, I've been way fun about black Americans before, man. I got made fun of them. I got called the African booty scratcher, and that was by black folks when I first came here. So it wasn't nothing new to me, right? And I think it was quite heinous. I think it's still pretty heinous. But am I gonna sit there and hold a grudge against black people to perpetuate that hate? No, I'm generally not a hateful person. I genuinely, when people don't believe me, I like, even though I come up here and I sound passionate as hell, they think I'm emotional. I'm not as emotional on most things, all right? So I'm not going to sit there and let, just because some African kid or African American kids decide to make fun of me because they don't understand Africa, I'm not going to hold it against all black Americans, because I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why I have the opinion I have about black Americans, because I have family members and I myself are actively working with African Americans right now to help not only other African kids, but to also help black kids too as well, especially fatherless black boys. So like, there's a lot of situations that I'm involved in with black Americans, and I see how passionate they are to not only help other black folks, but to help Africans too as well. So me seeing that and then go around and in the same statement say that black America, I can't do that, bro. I'm sorry, that's beyond me. I can't, because then that spits in the face of the people who are actively, that I know right now, that are doing good work for every race, not just black Americans or not just Africans. I think there's a lot of things that we're missing here. But shout out to you for the super chat anyway. And this is why we have discourse. But I don't agree with that last part. I don't think you got to clarify that. I don't think black people are responsible for legalizing slavery, bro.
that, you know, she started aligning herself with black people onto her show. And so that made it more comfortable for certain blacks to come. And then she's talking real, you know, a lot of stuff about women. You know, she was reviewing hip hop and things like that. So she was trying to put herself into the space like Adam 22 puts himself in the space, like Vlad puts himself into the space. And I guess, you know, Jason Black is trying to be upset.
Yo, who is this dude spamming, bro? Hey, yo, hey, 86 this dude, bro. I told you to stop spamming, bro. Like, listen, I don't fuck with Rolo and the shit that they doing. Stop, like, Super Moose. Like, oh, you said O'Shea works with Denny Sperling. I don't know if they do now, but Denny Sperling or DK Blizzard King, he's capped too. But like, stop spamming, bro.
That these people are letting her into the space. I don't know if she did that per YouTube, because again, that's how it kind of works when you're targeting that sort of audience. But the reality is he overall is right. I can't get around that, man. Like, nobody can say that Jason Black is not right. You can call him whatever you want to call him. I know a lot of brothers don't like Jason Black and whatever. You know, I heard that, you know, like Mr. Fantastic called into the show. He hung up on the guy. He might treat his callers bad or whatever you might say. But this one, he's right, because he got it right there on tape. And again, you know, just Pearly Things doesn't take black people that serious, bro. And one of the reasons why is because we don't challenge it. Like, she would never do that with any other community. But yeah, she can say that African thing out there and knows that, like, hey, you're not gonna have any problems with that. And that's the situation. So, I mean, I think that the brother is completely 100% right on what he said. And again, you're free to listen to who you want us to listen to. But at the same time, just know that people are out there willing to be disrespectful towards you. They'll be willing to laugh at folks saying that all black people are late. I don't care if you're talking about she dates black men or she has a black boyfriend. I don't care about that, man. Like, seriously. You know what I mean? And for black YouTubers that go and deal with her, I mean, you know, more power to you. I don't have no problem with you. That's you know, nothing I can do about that. But then just also know she don't have no respect for you either. So any black YouTuber after that goes over there, let's say, for example, you didn't know at first, fine. If you show up to her podcast knowing that, just know that you give her more reason not to take black people that serious. And she owes the black community an apology for that. And that's all I have to say. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy.
Yo, O'Shea, that's facts. Hey, that's factual. That's actually factual. If she's clearly proving she's not taking black people seriously while she's grifting off of black people. Think about it. The whole modern woman trope. I mean, listen, the next time Pearl makes a statement about black women and how the relationship between black women and black men, if she ever makes a conversation about that and no other black person sticks up and talks about how you don't have the right, and not saying that she doesn't have the right to criticize black relationships, I'm not saying that, but unless you apologize for this blanket statement that you're making on the people you're grifting off of, you probably shouldn't be talking about black relationships, because what your ignorant statement basically just proved that you're not well versed on black issues. You're clueless on black issues. And if you don't understand slavery, at least the fundamental makings of slavery, then you're definitely clueless on just black issues in general. So stop talking about black relationships to get these black men on your side. And we see the effects of this shit, because some of these black men would throw their own pride away just because a white woman is saying exactly what they want to hear. All right. And it's honestly sad. O'Shea hit the nail on the head. Again, this is not like, it's such a fine line trying to walk this little tightrope here, because like, I'm African. All right. And I know some black folks are going to be like, oh, you know, you're African this. And then some Africans are going to be like, you know, we already actually had that here in the chat. Right. But it's important for us to start gravitating towards the middle ground. It's very important, because right now all we have are extremists on both sides. Y'all understand that, right? They're like, this is the only other platforms and some of the other ones that does streaming that is trying to keep it like neutral, right? Not even just neutral, but just factual, like what the facts actually is, right? We're surrounded by extremists. All right, whether it's left-wing or right-wing extremists, all right? And some of the left-wing guys are going to say the right-wings are crazy, and the right wing are going to say the left wing are crazy. But for you, chat, and us, we looking at both these motherfuckers and saying, y'all are both crazy, okay? Because if you go far right, you end up like Nick Fuentes, all right? If you go too far left, all right, you end up like, what's that? What's that woman's name? I forgot what that lady's name was. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez or whatever the fuck her name was, right? Yo, I'm telling you, we got a lot of things to work on. Tomorrow, guys, I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. Apparently, I gotta cover that Fresh and Fit thing. And while I was looking for that O'Shea video, we got apparently Abba and Preach did a video about Fresh and Fit just now, and it's about Charleston White. And I want to cover that because I've always had my issues with Charleston White, okay? I'm always skeptical about people who are overly critical about either their own ethnic group or racial group or other people's ethnic or racial groups, okay? Because usually there's something in the closet they're usually hiding. And I think Abba and Preach just exposed Charleston White on such a massive level, it's not even funny. And I think realistically, listen, I enjoy some of the things that Charleston White says, like, you know, King Von being a murderer, mass murderer, and being glorified in the black community. That's a big problem. We shouldn't be glorifying mass murderers, criminals, and serial killers. That's just not a good look for us, okay? Charleston White is factual. But then again, you also got to notice some of the things he also go hard on when it comes to his own race. Like, that is the definition of a self-hating black man. Like, Charleston White is an Uncle Ruckus for real. Like, he's a real-life Uncle Ruckus. But it just shows you, like, all these self-hating people, they end up on one place, either Fresh and Fit or somewhere in the Redpill. So we gonna cover that tomorrow. I was supposed to do this Pearl stream yesterday, but I ain't gonna cap to y'all. I was sick. Y'all could probably hear it in my voice. I'm coughing all over the place, right? I'm still sick, but I want to push it for today, and I'm gonna push it for tomorrow. Even though I feel nauseous, y'all can see me. I'm sweating, and me laughing is not helping either. All right, but I'm like, I don't know if it's a fever or what the fuck I'm going through, but I'm still gonna push through because this shit is funny. It's funny. So I am Victoria. Shout out to you for the $5 super chat. I am Victoria says she's clueless on most issues, not just black issues, based on what I've seen so far. Oh yeah, that is a given, bro. That is a given. What's let me see what else is saying. He says Charleston White should be done. Yeah, that dude is crazy, bro. I can't believe he's talking about raping women. Like, he's open about it. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And there are brothers who are clapping for this shit too. I'm just like, why don't we demonize this? Like, why are we like, yo, this nigga just came out and said it willingly Bill Cosby'd a bunch of other girls back in the day, and we just gonna let him on Fresh and Fit. That's crazy. So we gonna have to cover that. BB says, bruh, AOC got swallowed by the system when she got to Washington. She must kiss the neoliberal ring to speak. Yeah. No, that's what usually happens to politicians. You go in, then you understand the power behind the throne. It's usually not ideals. It's money. Okay, so this is what it is, guys. I'm gonna catch you on tomorrow's episode. Go ahead and like, subscribe button, and the bell notification, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.